Chapter 191. Zhou Han from the Zhou family. Hand over the 80 million spiritual stones. I'm tired of playing with you, Wang Kai said with an indifferent smile. On the fifth floor, Zhou Han's expression was uncertain. However, he could not lose face now. He could only wave his hand and toss out a spatial ring. He said indifferently, Grandmaster Zhi Jing, please bring young Nun Miaoyin back. Commoner Wang Kai, I hope you can keep those spiritual stones alive. If you want me to help you, it's not impossible. Zhou Han sneered secretly. With Mo Qiubei as an example, he would not say it out loud. Instead, he was hinting to Wang Kai to ask for his help. Naturally, the price was the 80 million 8th grade spirit stones from earlier. Wang Kai shrugged when he heard this. He glanced at him with a disdainful expression and did not respond. Instead, he flipped his hand and untied the ribbon. Swoosh! After Miao Yin was released, she flew to the private room where Master Zhi Jing was. She gritted her teeth and glared at Wang Kai. She hated him to the core. Damn it, Wang Kai, Miao Yin will not let you go. If there is a chance, Miao Yin will send you to hell, Miao Yin said coldly. Ba. Miao Yin was emotionally unstable because of the auction and forgot to thank you. I'm deeply sorry. If you have any requests in the future, Joyful Buddha Temple will definitely help you. Monk Zhi Jing stood up and smiled gently. Wang Kai, come out and die. I want to challenge you. Let's fight to the death. I'm just a commoner, born in a lowly place. Brother Zhang, can you leave the life of a barbarian to me? In an instant, Zhang Ruoxuan and Shang Yunyi stood up and scolded him. Everyone swallowed a mouthful of saliva when they saw this. Their expressions were filled with anticipation and excitement. They thought to themselves, is the battle finally about to begin? They wondered if Wang Kai could survive. Even though he was the emperor of the Endless Treasures Pavilion, the older generation was not allowed to interfere in the competition between the younger generation. Don't be in such a hurry to die. Bin Xiao still has something to auction. Whoosh! Under their astonished gazes, Wang Kai flipped his hand and took out the token that Bai Yin Yan had given him. This token is the proof of the demon clan's participation in the Myriad Demon Conference. Bin Xiao now has one, and it was given to him by Bin Xiao's maid, the immortal goddess Bai Yin Yan. Does anyone want it? Wang Kai narrowed his eyes and smiled. Everyone curled their lips in disdain when they heard this. What use would a human have for a demon's proof? Could it be that the demon race would allow the humans to use their candidates? What's more, even if the demon clan agreed to it, many of the human clan's forces would not. I bid a pseudo-emperor artifact. Whoosh! On the first floor, an ordinary-looking young man dressed in white stood up and took out a long sword with a flip of his hand. This young man was Wang Kai's doppelganger. Seeing this, Wang Kai pretended to sigh helplessly, held the long sword in his hand, and then threw the token over, saying lightly, since no one wants it, I can only give it to this brother. Such a scene immediately caused Miao Yin's beautiful eyes to widen. She wondered why Wang Kai wanted to auction the token, and it was a pseudo-emperor artifact. Right when everyone was about to inquire about Wang Kai's clone, they saw Wang Kai suddenly stand up and stretch his body, causing cracking sound to resound out as he said indifferently, Zhang Ruoxuan, Shang Yunyi, Zhou Han, blood-dripping cave, and even any other trash that wants to take this young master's head can get the hell out of here and fight. Whoosh! Immediately, Wang Kai took the lead and floated down. With his hands behind his back, he walked out of the Endless Treasures Pavilion with a very leisurely expression. Mortals who don't know their limits. Whoosh! Immediately, Zhang Ruoxuan and Shang Yunyi followed closely behind. Zhou Han's eyes were filled with anger as he stood up. He originally wanted to wait for Wang Kai to ask for his help, but Wang Kai actually proposed a duel with him. Moreover, his words were full of humiliation. Immediately, he turned over and followed out. Wang Kai wants to challenge 2 of the 4 royal princes of the Wuzhou 4 great families alone. And the Shang family of the spiritual state is not much weaker than the Zhang family. There's also the Breeze Sword Saint's disciple, Mo Qiubei outside. There are a total of 4 royal princes. Is Wang Kai really confident that he can win? In the midst of the discussion, Everyone followed out excitedly. Cave Master Blood Department. In a private room on the 5th floor of the Dripping Blood Cave, a young man and a middle-aged man slowly stood up. I'm a saint. If I attack him, I'm afraid I can't do it in the Endless Treasures Pavilion. Later, I'll attach myself to your body with the Blood Soul technique. Only by borrowing your body can we kill him. Cave Master Blood Department said coldly. Yes, Cave Master. The young man replied respectfully. His companions were overjoyed. Others might not know Wang Kai's true realm, but they did. After all, the Blood Demon Emperor was killed by Wang Kai. After Zhang Ruoxuan and the others were defeated, they would be able to defeat him with their own bodies. Then they would become famous. Outside the Endless Treasures Pavilion, in the middle of the street, Wang Kai stood calmly with his hands behind his back. There were 4 figures standing around him: Zhou Han, Zhang Ruoxuan, Imo Qiubei, and Shang Yanyi. At this moment, the surrounding area was also filled with martial cultivators. They were all waiting to watch a good show. Zhang Ruoxuan, Shang Yanyi, Zhou Han, the 3 of you stand down. I'm going to take his life. Imo Qiubei said coldly. You're just the 7th royal prince. You should be the one to stand down. Zhang Ruoxuan said disdainfully. That's right. You're just a rogue martial cultivator. Get lost quickly. Don't make a fool of yourself in front of others. I'm going to take Wang Kai's life. Shang Yanyi said coldly. Hearing this, Imo Qiubei's eyes turned cold. He raised his hand, and a black sword flew into his palm. Then, he pointed it at Shang Yanyi and said disdainfully, You, the 9th young master, don't have the right to speak here. Get lost or die. The 3 of you should go back. I'm going to take Wang Kai's life. Zhou Han clenched his fist and snorted fiercely. Imo Qiubei and the other 2 narrowed their eyes. The 3 of them were on par with each other in terms of strength, but Zhou Han was different. As the 4th royal prince, he was stronger than any of the 3 of them. Why don't we fight together and see who can kill this ordinary man? Zhang Ruoxuan said with a cold smile. Once these words were spoken, although Imo Qiubei and Shang Yanyi were unwilling, they could only unhappily nod their heads and agree due to Zhou Han's strength. However, before Zhou Han could open his mouth, Wang Kai shrugged and said with a disdainful smile, Do you think Ben Xiao is so weak? You dare to discuss who will take Ben Xiao's life? Let me ask you, even if the 4 of you fight together, how big of a splash can you make? You're just a piece of trash at the Half-Emperor realm. Chapter 192. Spatial Compression. Swoosh. As soon as he finished speaking, before everyone could react, they saw Wang Kai raise his foot and stomp down. When his foot descended to the ground, his figure had already arrived before Imo Qiubei. You were the one who cried out the loudest earlier, right? Kneel. Wang Kai suddenly swung his fist and smashed it down towards Imo Qiubei's head. Imo Qiubei's pupils constricted abruptly when he saw this. He wanted to retreat, yet noticed it was already too late, so he could only raise his sword to resist. Universe Slicer. Swoosh. Wang Kai's fist suddenly slashed down and instantly sliced the sword into 2, whereas the force of his palm didn't reduce in the slightest and directly slashed down onto Imo Qiubei's head. Bang! Clang! Under the dumbstruck gazes of everyone, the sword that was sliced into 2 fell to the ground and emitted a buzzing sound. On the other hand, Imo Qiubei's entire body twitched while blood flowed out from all 7 apertures on the spot. Thump! Along with Imo Qiubei's body falling straight to the ground. Everyone felt suffocated. One move. Merely one move. Not only had Imo Qiubei's sword been sliced into 2, he'd even slashed Imo Qiubei to the point blood flowed out from all 7 apertures. How could this be possible? Such trash dares to call himself a sword emperor. Bang! Crack! Wang Kai laughed coldly as he raised his foot and released battle chi, and he directly kicked Imo Qiubei's corpse up into the sky. Under the invasion of the battle chi, Imo Qiubei's corpse exploded into pieces in the sky, and it transformed into a rain of blood and bone that rained down. How ruthless! Hiss! When everyone saw this, they all sucked in a breath of cold air. Some even closed their eyes. Even the face of the devil cultivator from the demon clan twitched. He's already dead, yet he didn't even leave an intact corpse. That's the disciple of the sword saint of Breeze. However, at this moment, Johan's group of 3 were the most shocked. Even if Mo Chiobei's strength was only ranked at the 3rd amongst them, it was absolutely impossible to kill him so easily. You, just what realm are you at? Zhang Ruoxuan snapped. Wang Kai shrugged and looked at them mockingly. He smiled faintly and said, "Not too strong, but it can destroy the sky. Not too weak, but it can destroy the world. Are you all prepared to die?" Congratulations to the host for successfully bragging. You have received 10,000 experience points and 10 bragging points. These words immediately caused everyone's expressions to be extremely stunned. Even the corners of the Johan trio's mouths twitched violently. Even though his cultivation level was high, it was impossible for him to boast in such a manner. Right? Don't worry. Ben Shao won't kill you directly like he did just now. This is because Ben Shao has a very bad habit. Yes, he likes to torture his enemies to death. Just now, it was just a slip of the hand. That poor bastard is really too weak. He couldn't even withstand a single palm strike. I hope you can hold on for a few more breaths. Wang Kai narrowed his eyes and grinned. When he lifted his foot and was about to step down again, everyone held their breaths. Shrinking the ground into an inch. Bastard. Divine escape emblem. Shang Yunni's expression suddenly changed. He immediately took out a golden pen and a golden Taoist talisman. After quickly drawing on them, his figure disappeared. Thunder, rush step. After image transformation. Following closely behind, Johan and Zhang Ruoxuan simultaneously used their movement martial skills. Their figures instantly disappeared from their original positions and rushed into the sky. Swoosh! When Wang Kai's foot stepped on the ground, his figure had already arrived at the place where Zhang Ruoxuan was just a moment ago. Such a scene immediately caused Zhang Ruoxuan, who was in the sky, to turn pale. If he had not escaped in advance, he would have been doomed to a miserable fate. It seems that your movement martial skill can only be used on land. Johan laughed coldly. Wang Kai raised his eyebrows when he heard this. He raised his head and looked at the 3 of them in a mocking manner. He smiled faintly and said, "Do you think you can still escape? Ben Shao really doesn't want to bother with mere half-emperor level ants. However, you don't know what's good for you. Ordinary people from the Fan province? Today I, an ordinary person, will completely annihilate trash like you who think you're better than others. So close, yet worlds apart." Swoosh! Under Johan's incredulous gaze, Wang Kai's figure suddenly penetrated a light shadow and instantly arrived in front of him. How is this possible? How many exquisite movement techniques do you actually have? So many that you won't be able to continue watching. However, before Johan could finish speaking, Wang Kai had already grabbed his neck tightly. Soon after, his other hand turned into a palm and directly slapped Johan's arm. Bang! Crack! Cyan Battle Chi flowed out and smashed one of Johan's arms into pieces. Damn it! Bastard! Bang! Crack! However, under the terrified gazes of the crowd, they saw Wang Kai continuously attack and smash both of Johan's arms into pieces. Even Johan's legs were forcefully kicked away. Johan, this young master doesn't care what kind of colossus your Zhou family is. Since you dared to imprison this young master's mother-in-law, you should be prepared for this young master to pay you a visit. And you are just the beginning. Bang! As soon as Wang Kai finished speaking, Johan's head was directly smashed apart by a punch. With a flip of his hand, Johan's headless body, with 4 broken limbs, was thrown down from the sky. Plop! The crowd looked at the body on the ground and were unwilling to believe it. Was this the young sovereign ranked 4th on the youth sovereign leaderboard? How could he die so easily? Moreover, in such a miserable state? Even the expert of the older generation from a Zhou clan was dumbfounded. He originally thought that Wang Kai was no match for Zhou Han, but the result was so unexpected that he didn't even have the chance to intervene. Wang Kai, die! Whoosh! The elder from the Zhou clan was extremely furious. He immediately turned around and attacked Wang Kai in the sky. However, with a bang, the elder from the Zhou clan was forcefully pushed back. 11 figures appeared in the sky, one after another. The one in the lead was Hao Ren. When the crowd saw this, they all swallowed a mouthful of saliva. 2 peak sages and 8 saint kings. If anyone dares to attack the emperor, kill them on the spot. The Endless Treasures Pavilion will also be blacklisted, Hao Ren said coldly. Yes. The 10 Saint Realm experts looked solemn as they stared coldly at the crowd. Whoosh! Whoosh! 2 elders suddenly appeared. One was from the Shang clan, and the other was from the Zhang clan. In addition to the elder from the Zhou clan, there were a total of 3 Saint Kings. However, with just 3 Saint Kings, they still couldn't do anything to the Endless Treasures Pavilion. Even if they could, they didn't dare to offend the Endless Treasures Pavilion anymore. I implore Treasure Trove Pavilion's Crown Prince to let Zhang Ruoxuan go. I implore Treasure Trove Pavilion's Crown Prince to let Shang Yunyi go. We are willing to pay any price. The 2 Saint Kings from the Zhang clan and the Shang clan bowed and begged. Although they were extremely unwilling, they could only lower their heads at this moment. Let them go. Are you dreaming? Anyone who is an enemy of Ben Shao, as long as they appear in front of Ben Shao, even if Ben Shao can't defeat them, he will do everything he can to kill them. Since the 2 of them dared to act tough in front of Ben Shao, death is considered a light punishment. Whoosh! When Wang Kai's cold and emotionless voice fell, his figure disappeared again. No, no. Zhang Ruoxuan and Shang Yunyi had already lost the will to fight. They never thought that Wang Kai would be so terrifying. They were so scared that their faces were as white as paper, and they fled like stray dogs. At this moment, their miserable appearance made the crowd sigh. Are they still the descendants of the big families? Are they still the young sovereigns? Can you run? Vitality bomb. Whoosh, whoosh, bang, bang. Wang Kai revealed himself and flicked out 2 vitality bombs with a flick of his finger, and they directly blasted apart the legs of Zhang Ruoxuan and Shang Yunyi, who'd fled into the distance. Shrill cries resounded out as both of them fell unsteadily into the sky. Whoosh! Wang Kai flipped his hand and struck out with 2 strands of azure battle chi, and he directly captured both of them. After that, he condensed his battle chi into 2 azure palms that grabbed Zhang Ruoxuan and Shang Yunyi by their necks and hung them up in front of him. Let me go. Cough. Please. I beg you. Zhang Ruoxuan and Shang Yunyi's intermittent pleas for mercy caused the crowd to have extremely complicated expressions. Even if it's that young sovereign. In front of Wang Kai, he's just an ant. Bang. Crack. Bang. Crack. Wang Kai's expression was icy cold to the extreme as he silently raised his leg and kicked out successively, and he shattered Zhang Ruoxuan and Shang Yunyi's legs in unison. On the other hand, the azure palms held tightly onto their necks, causing them to be unable to emit any shrill cries no matter how much pain they felt. Only the boundless pain tormented their nerves. Ordinary Wang Kai, lowly birth, crack, crack. As soon as Wang Kai's ghastly voice finished resounding out, 2 crisp sounds resounded out as strands of blood sprayed out, and Zhang Ruoxuan and Shang Yunyi's arms were shattered into pieces. Woo 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 at this moment, Zhang Ruoxuan and Shang Yunyi stared their eyes wide open, and their eyes were bloodshot while their entire bodies twitched as if they were convulsing. No matter if it was in their hearts or in their eyes, they'd taken Wang Kai to be a devil. They regretted offending Wang Kai. Young sovereign, an extraordinary clan in the Martial Province and Spirit Province, a strong foundation. You think you're better than others? Let me ask you, the Saint Kings of your clans can only watch from below as Ben Shao tortures you. Where does your so-called arrogance come from? Ben Shao was born in the Fan Province, and he's just an ordinary person. Wang Kai flipped his hands and struck out with 2 palms. He said indifferently, palm print 8 desolation. Bang, bang, crack, crack, rumble, rumble. Under the horrified gazes of the crowd, a giant palm suddenly slammed down from the sky. The area it covered was at least a few thousand meters. Damn it, run, damn it. He actually used such a powerful martial technique. Is he going to kill us as well? It's too terrifying. I don't want to see this devil Wong Kai ever again in my life. Swish, swish, swish. Everyone's expressions changed drastically as they got up and fled in all directions. The giant palm slammed into the ground, leaving a deep pit that was a few thousand meters wide. It was bottomless. However, the corpses of Zhang Ruoxuan and Shang Yanni had already dissipated into nothingness. Looking at the huge palm print on the ground, the experts floating in the air all sucked in a breath of cold air and looked at Wong Kai in horror. Most of them didn't even dare to look back as they fled. Even the cave master of the Blood Drop Cave and the young man were so frightened that they lost the thought of killing Wong Kai. They fled with the other experts. Those who remained were Lu Yao, Lu Changshen, the Demon Province's little princess, Ming Yi of the Underworld Province, Lin Yaoyue of the Lin family, Bai He of the Sun Moon Island, and Hao Run of the Treasure Trove Pavilion. Your Highness is truly mighty and extraordinary. I'm afraid this battle will shake the 6 provinces and 1 island. Hao Run swallowed dryly as he praised with a stiff expression. Chapter 193. Wong Kai raised his eyebrows. With his hands behind his back, he smiled calmly and said, famous throughout the 6 prefectures and 1 island? Wrong, wrong, wrong. Ben Xiao's fame is known throughout the entire universe, let alone the 6 prefectures and 1 island. Who doesn't know about him? Congratulations to the host for successfully bragging. You've received 10,000 experience points and 10 bragging points. Yes, yes, yes. Everyone knows about the Crown Prince. I admire him greatly. Although he didn't know what kind of place the universe was, Hao Run could only go along with Wong Kai's words. He was frightened by his ruthless methods and couldn't help but recall the incident in the trove of treasures in the Elysium City. He was extremely glad that Wong Kai didn't punish him like this. Otherwise, he would have been better off dead. Fame and fortune are just fleeting clouds. Ben Xiao has long been indifferent to them. Hao Run, remember, don't place too much importance on fame. When a person's fame is too great, it can be very troublesome. Just like Ben Xiao, no matter where he goes, there are beauties coming to flatter him. Why bother? How sad. Wong Kai shook his head and sighed. Congratulations to the host for successfully bragging. You've received 10,000 experience points and 10 bragging points. Hearing this, Hao Ren's mouth twitched violently. He lowered his head and nodded repeatedly. You really shouldn't have killed them. In this way, there will be 4 less young sovereigns in the demon gathering. Lin Yaoyue suddenly shook her head and said. She looked at Wong Kai with a complicated expression. She never thought that he would be so powerful. At first, she thought that he would need her help. Who would have thought that the 4 young sovereigns would be as powerless as babies in his hands? Wong Kai shrugged when he heard this. He glanced at her indifferently and said with an indifferent smile, Young supremacy? If those weaklings who only know how to show off their insignificant strength can be called young sovereigns, then wouldn't Ben Xiao be the young sovereigns of the universe? In the 9 heavens and 10 earths, only Ben Xiao is invincible? Congratulations to the host for successfully bragging. You have received 10,000 experience points and 10 bragging points. Congratulations to the host for successfully breaking through to the 7th rank Great Emperor realm. You really shouldn't have killed them. Doing so would only make the underworld even noisier. Do you know how many dead souls in the underworld are chanting your name all day long, Wong Kai? In Fan Province alone, there are millions of them. The souls of the people you killed back then are all in the underworld. They want to come back and take revenge on you all day long. Ming Yi said faintly. As soon as this statement came out, Hao Run and Lin Yaoyue looked shocked. Even the little princess of the demon race opened her mouth in disbelief. Compared to Lu Qingshun and Lu Yao, who knew about this, there was not much difference. But in the eyes of others, Wang Kai's actions were absolutely inviting trouble to himself. Brother Wang Kai, you have committed too many killings. When you become a saint, the divine tribulation that will descend will consign you to eternal damnation. Do you know about this? Lin Yaiwa frowned and asked, the divine tribulation? Even if the number of people killed by Jing Xian was not as many as he was, it was not far off. Since she could pass the tribulation, how could he face her in the future if he could not pass it? Thinking of this, Wang Kai suddenly raised his eyebrows and nodded gently with an incomparably calm expression. He pretended to be bleak and shook his head with a sigh and said with a smile, Bin Xiao has lived in this world for tens of thousands of years. He has always wanted to die, but his wish was not fulfilled. The divine tribulation that you mentioned, Bin Xiao has already tried it. Congratulations to the host for successfully bragging. You have received 10,000 experience points and 10 bragging points. Tried it? They all stared at him with their eyes wide open. Even Ming Yi, whose face was cold and pale, was quite surprised. You should only be a great emperor. You haven't even reached the half-saint realm. How can you try the divine tribulation? Are you joking with big sister? If aunt and uncle knew that you loved to brag so much, who knows how they would teach you a lesson? Lin Yaoyue pursed her red lips and said with a smile. Wang Kai frowned slightly when he heard this. Although he had already guessed it, when he heard Lin Yaoyue speak of the relationship between the two sides, he still felt a little tired. He did not want to pay too much attention to it and said lightly, when Bin Xiao was born, the divine tribulation descended. At that time, my father said that Bin Xiao bathed in a sea of lightning and achieved the indestructible divine art, which led to his current strength. Congratulations to the host for successfully bragging. You have received 10,000 experience points and 10 bragging points. Everyone's faces stiffened when they heard this. They were really shocked by Wang Kai's bragging skills. He said it almost without thinking at all and said it as if it were true. Wang Kai, I came here for 2 reasons. Miao Yin has been taken away by Master Zhi Jing of the Mary Buddha Temple. As for you, although I want to take you back to the netherworld, I can't do it now. I only hope that you will die soon. Goodbye, Ming Yi said lightly. Then he turned into a purple flame and disappeared into the sky. The purple flame, the 9 Serenities cold flame, ranked 3rd on the 9 mystical flames list. Can't do it. What did he mean? Everyone frowned and looked at Wang Kai with puzzlement. Ming Yi, the son of Ming Di in the Nether Prefecture, I don't know how old he is. He has the 9 Serenities cold flame, and his cultivation is at least at the Holy King realm, Lu Yao said coldly. Her eyes were full of suspicion as she looked at Wang Kai. Even such an expert admitted that he couldn't take Wang Kai away. What other trump cards did he have? Could it be that he had lived for tens of thousands of years and was unfathomable? Ha! It's natural that Ming Yi can't defeat Wang Kai. Even if it's me, it's easy for me to take Ming Ye's life. Swoosh! The little princess of the Demon Prefecture laughed and came to Wang Kai with her little hands behind her back. She blinked her beautiful eyes and stretched out her little white hand. She grinned and said, Where are the spiritual stones we agreed on before? Give them to me. She was the daughter of the devil emperor from the Demon Prefecture, the owner of the mystical flame, Ren Huan Huan. Their faces suddenly changed. They knew that her mystical flame was more powerful than Ming Ye's. Ha! Little girl, since you know that Ming Yi is not Ben Xiao's opponent, where did you get the courage to ask Ben Xiao for spiritual stones? Do you believe that Ben Xiao will suppress you and then hold an auction? Wang Kai said with a smile. Swoosh! As soon as these words came out, Ren Huan's pretty face immediately turned red. Previously, when Wang Kai was auctioning Sweet Sound, she was extremely unwilling to accept his actions. I don't care. You promised before. If you can't fulfill your promise, I will stay by your side and not leave. Ren Huan gritted her teeth and said. Then, she pouted and stood to the side, motionless. Wang Kai narrowed his eyes when he saw this. He didn't believe that this little girl was as childish as she looked. As the princess of the demon prefecture and the owner of the mystical flame, she was definitely not simple. Since she took the initiative to approach him, she must have other motives. It was just that he didn't know yet. Wang Kai, I have something to say to you, Lu Yao suddenly said coldly. Chapter 194. Treasure Trove Pavilion, inside a private room. My dear fiancé, have you already been mesmerized by your husband's heroic figure? Hee. If you really can't resist, your husband can fulfill your wish. Before we get married, let's have some fun first. Congratulations to host for successfully boasting. You have received 10,000 experience points, 10 bragging points. Wang Kai was all smiles as he stood with his hands behind his back. He looked at Lu Yao, who was seated on the chair. For a moment, he was somewhat unsure of her intentions. They had already been in the private room for an hour, yet she had not said a single word. She had only stared at him without even blinking. Although being stared at by a beauty was a very good thing, right now was definitely not the time to be thinking about that. Wang Kai, can bragging also raise one's martial realm so quickly? Finally, when Wang Kai could no longer stand the silence, Lu Yao opened her mouth. Although her tone was still cold, her beautiful face was filled with seriousness. Wang Kai's expression froze when he heard this. He had not expected that the question she had been thinking about for half a day would actually be this. Furthermore, she had asked it in such a serious manner. Immediately, he shrugged his shoulders rather speechlessly and pretended to be profound as he smiled and said, "Of course, breaking through one's martial realm is achieved through hard work day and night. You may not know this, but Bin Xiao has entered the deep mountains since he was young and fought with wild beasts with his bare hands. When he became an adult, he even dared to go to the southern mountain range and fight with demons. Even now that he has left Fanzhou, he has never forgotten to train and accumulate. Congratulations to host for successfully boasting. You have received 10,000 experience points, 10 bragging points. Sigh. In Bin Xiao's eyes, training is lonely and painful. If not for the fact that Bin Xiao is mentally tough and never afraid of trials and tribulations, how could he have reached the level he is at today? Dear fiancé, you have only seen the bright side of your husband, but you have never seen the painful side of your husband. Wang Kai shook his head and pretended to be lonely as he sighed. Congratulations to host for successfully boasting. You have received 10,000 experience points, 10 bragging points. Lu Yao could not help but smile when she heard this. Her eyes swept over him with a somewhat playful look before she coldly said, "You and I both grew up in Fan Province. Although we did not grow up together, I have heard of your deeds every day. These words may be able to deceive others, but in front of me, it's best if you don't use them. This is going to be King embarrassing." Wang Kaisin was incomparably depressed, but his face was still indifferent. With his hands behind his back, he walked up to her and stood in front of her. Slightly lowering his head to look at her, he softly said with a smile, "Yao, I wonder what you want to say to your husband?" Whoosh! Looking at Wang Kai at such a close distance, for some reason, Lu Yao felt the urge to avoid him. She tilted her head with an unnatural expression and said in a low voice, "In this myriad demon meet, the 4 great clans of the martial province sent out a total of 10 young experts. 6 of them were young sovereigns on the youth sovereign leaderboard, while the other 4 were saints from the 4 great clans. Now, that 4 of the 6 young sovereigns have died. Have you thought about the consequences?" Saint. Wang Kai raised his eyebrows when he heard this. He had long heard of this title. Wasn't Jing Xian the saintess of the supreme Taoist sect? Furthermore, the Fanzhou Empress had once said that if he had the ability, he could become this saint of the trove of Treasure's Pavilion. Zhou Han and Zhang Ruoxuan are 2 of the 4s. Are Shang Yani and Mo Qiubei among them? Wang Kai was puzzled as he asked. He thought about it repeatedly in his heart. He had never killed any of the other top 10 young supremes. Lu Yao gently shook her head. She could feel Wang Kai's masculine aura in front of her. Her eyes flickered as she turned around and coldly said, "Shang Yani and Mo Qiubei are naturally not among them. The other two are the second and third ranks. They died at the hands of Zhong Wulong a few days ago. Zhong Wulong, this number one on the Supreme Youth Leaderboard, isn't he a rogue cultivator? He has the guts to offend the Fours? Wang Kai asked curiously. If he had the chance, he would like to meet the number one on the Supreme Youth Leaderboard. As a rogue cultivator, he dared to offend the Fours and kill their young sovereigns. He was the second and third ranks young sovereigns. If he had a sword sage like Mo Qiubei, it would be fine. However, according to the rumors, he had no background at all. It has been confirmed. Zhong Wulong is a young expert from the Dragon Tribe. Like you and me, he left the monster continent to train. He is yet to transform into a dragon, but he became the number one on the Supreme Youth Leaderboard. The second is Lu Mu from the Lu clan, and the third is Zhou Zhan from the Zhou clan. The two of them joined forces, but they were no match for Zhong Wulong. After they were killed, the two sages chased after him, but he transformed into a dragon and escaped. An expert from the Dragon Tribe. Wang Kai raised an eyebrow upon hearing this, and a surprised smile appeared on his face as he said, "Doesn't that mean that the crouching dragon possesses power that even the saints can't deal with? Has he reached the Emperor Realm?" He has already reached the peak of the Emperor Realm. After transforming into a dragon, he has the strength of a sage. This time, he is the Myriad Demons Palace's Dragon Tribe's candidate. However, the only candidates left are me, Lin Yaoyue from the Lin clan, and the Four's holy sons and saintesses. Liu Yao said coldly. Since the Four's great clans had their holy sons and saintesses, the Myriad Demons Palace must have theirs as well. However, the key to victory should be the number of wins and losses in the 10 battles. In that case, even if the 4 holy sons and saintesses of the great sage won all of them, there would still be 6 battles left. My dear fiancé, you're not telling me this because you want me to participate in the Myriad Demon Conference, right? Wang Kai suddenly came to a realization and looked at her with a playful expression. Wang Kai had originally planned to participate, but he wanted to participate as a member of the Demon Clan. After all, he was not from the Four's great clans. At the same time, he could avoid the awkwardness of fighting Jing Xian. If he was really beaten up by Jing Xian, wouldn't it be very embarrassing? Previously, at the auction, he had sold the token given by Yin Yin to announce to the world that the token had been taken away by someone else. Even if there was an expert with the token, it would not be him, Wang Kai. The only thing he was not clear about was how Jing Xian would appear. Yes, I want you to participate as my fiancé. Liu Yao suddenly lowered her head, and her pretty face could not help but blush. There was a trace of panic in her eyes. Wang Kai was astonished when he heard this. Something that could make Liu Yao say, this must be extremely important, right? He could not help but ask curiously, what kind of treasure is in the ruins of Dragon Mountain? There are treasures, but they are not peerless. The real treasure that the Myriad Demons Palace and the Four's great clans are fighting over is the 5 Emperors token. Liu Yao said seriously. The 5 Emperors token again. This time, the Fanzhou Empress asked him to find Niu Zhetian for the 5 Emperors token. However, there was actually one in the ruins of Dragon Mountain. Wang Kai suddenly felt extremely puzzled and confused. Chapter 195. What exactly is the 5 Emperor token? How could it make the Demon Continent's ruler, the pantheon of demons, and the 4 great families of the Wu continent fight over it? Wang Kai asked with a frown. Even the Empress of the Fan continent, who had a lot of influence in the 6 continents and 1 island, wanted the 5 Emperor token. The secret behind it made people's hearts itch. The Empress of the Fan continent once said that with the 5 Emperor token, one could control thousands of demons. But now, there was more than one token. Could it be that the 2 were different? The Kirin, Azure Dragon, White Tiger, Vermilion Bird, and Black Tortoise. After the 5 Emperor bees succeeded in their cultivation, they left their inheritances in the mystery territory. The 5 Emperor tokens are the 5 keys to opening the mystery territory. Liu Yao said coldly. Wang Kai raised his eyebrows. The Azure Dragon, White Tiger, vermilion bird, and black tortoise were the 4 divine beasts of the demon clan. The Kirin should be the leader of the 4 spirits. Big stupid cat. Are the Kirin and the 4 divine beasts extinct in the demon continent? Wang Kai asked with a strange expression. If they were not extinct, why would the 5 emperor tokens be scattered everywhere? Wouldn't it be better to just give it to the next generation? Why would so many forces fight over it? And in the end, it was hard to say who would get it. Since ancient times in the demon continent, there has only been one of the 4 spirits of heaven and the 4 divine beasts of heaven. Whether they have tribes or where they are, no one knows. Cat stroked his long whiskers and said. Wang Kai frowned. He had to admit that there was a big problem this time. If there were tribes, wouldn't it be suicide to snatch the inheritances of their elders? In Wang Kai's opinion, although the unknown was tempting, it might not be heaven at the end of the road. It was very possible to fall into hell. Why do you want the 5 emperor tokens so much? Can humans cultivate the demon clan's inheritance? Wang Kai asked doubtfully. Lu Yao nodded slightly. Her eyes flickered slightly as she said coldly, do you know that thousands of years ago, there was a secret method to transform into a demon? At that time, humans could also cultivate into a demon. They were collectively known as demon cultivators. Human transformation into a demon form. Wouldn't that be the same as the martial skill that he cultivated, the body transformation of 10,000 demons? Wang Kai suddenly had a strange feeling. Just based on his understanding of the 10,000 demon transfiguration technique, it was easy for him to transform into the body of any demon, and he even had the ability to transform into a demon. You want to obtain the inheritance of the 5 demonic emperors and transform yourself into a demonic form? Wang Kai raised his eyebrows and asked, if humans could really cultivate the demon clan's inheritance, their strength would definitely increase greatly after transforming into a demon. For Wang Kai, who had cultivated the 10,000 demon body transformation technique, he was naturally very clear about the increase in power of demon transformation. I only want the vermilion bird's inheritance, Lu Yao said coldly. Wang Kai's mouth twitched when he heard this. It seemed that she was still a girl after all. Even if her temperament was a little cold, she still had the heart of a girl hidden in her chest. Sigh. It's a pity that Ben Xiao wanted to capture a Kirin as a companion, a green dragon to pull the carriage, a vermilion bird to be a servant, and a white tiger to be a fighter. It seems that it's impossible. I can only set my sights on the 5 strongest tribes of the pantheon of demons. How about a divine dragon to pull the carriage, a beautiful phoenix and a peacock to be a servant, a Kuan Peng to accompany the carriage, and a golden-winged roc to be a fighter? Wang Kai sighed helplessly, as if he was very unwilling to give up. Congratulations to the host for successfully bragging. You have received 10,000 experience and 10 bragging points. When Lu Yao heard this, her pretty face froze. Her eyes were filled with surprise as she looked at Wang Kai. Suddenly, she burst into laughter. Her smile was like 1,000 flowers blooming. Wang Kai was stunned for a moment. With Lu Yao's beauty, if she could smile more often, she would definitely not lose out to any girl he had ever seen. Do you agree to help me? Lu Yao's eyes were a little flustered. She quickly turned her head away. Although her tone had returned to being cold, there was a slight tremor in her voice. Wang Kai's eyes narrowed when he heard this. His original intention was to participate in the Myriad Demon Conference. Now that he heard that there were 5 Emperor tokens there, he naturally wanted to go and take a look. Hee, my dear fiancé, we haven't seen each other for a long time. Your husband has been thinking about you day and night. Why don't we take advantage of the beautiful night with a full moon and go to bed? Wang Kai narrowed his eyes and laughed softly. However, before Wang Kai could continue his attack, Lu Yao flipped her hand and took out a green wooden token. After placing it on the table, she stood up and walked around Wang Kai. When she reached the door, she turned her back to him with a smile on her lips. She pretended to be cold and said, "It's not night yet. How can there be a full moon and beautiful scenery? This is the proof of the Lu family's battle. Let's meet in a month at Dragon Mountain." Whoosh! Wang Kai looked at the empty private room, and the corner of his mouth twitched. He flipped his hand and put away the token. He thought to himself, Dragon Mountain, hee, little girl, if Ben Shao can't take you down, how could he be bragging? Boy, you should know that the four great families and the pantheon of demons are fighting for the right to enter the relics. However, you have killed Zhang Ruoxuan and Zhou Han of the four great families. Don't lose your life for a woman. Cat Lord stroked his long whiskers and laughed sarcastically. Wang Kai shrugged and shook his head inexplicably. He smiled faintly and said, The Lin family is Ben Shao's mother's family. Now that Lin Yaoyue has found Ben Shao, this matter cannot be avoided. Moreover, with a man like Ben Shao, what is a mere four great families to him? If they dare to act tough in front of Ben Shao will definitely pay them a visit and crush them to death. Congratulations to the host for successfully bragging. You have received 10,000 experience points and 10 bragging points. Congratulations to the host for successfully breaking through to the 8th grade Great Emperor realm. Hearing the notification, Wang Kai's eyes were filled with joy. He immediately cleared his throat and said with a calm expression, Punching 6 provinces and 1 island, trampling mountains and rivers, shaking the sun and moon, and possessing thousands of beauties. How wonderful! Congratulations to the host for successfully bragging. You have received 10,000 experience points and 10 bragging points. In the heaven connecting tower, Cat Lord immediately curled up and covered his face with his paws. He bared his teeth and said, Bastard, you have gone too far with your bragging. Clatter! As the door of the private room opened, the demon race's little princess walked in with her hands behind her back. She came close to Wang Kai and blinked her beautiful big eyes. She smiled and said, Do you know the ability of the strange fire devil thought flame? Wang Kai raised his eyebrows and looked at her with a playful expression. He said with a faint smile, Little girl, what are you trying to say? Hee, the demonic will flame can devour the soul of any living being that has desires. As long as there is even the slightest bit of desire, the demonic will flame will imperceptibly devour the soul and kill it. No matter how strong the expert is, he will die. Ren Huan said with a smile. Why? Wang Kai said with a faint smile. Ren Huan's beautiful face suddenly became frighteningly cold. Her pair of big eyes also turned blood red. She coldly said, If you agree to use the dustless flame to refine the elixir for this princess can spare the life of anyone except you. Your fiancé will also be among them. Chapter 196. Lu Yao and Lu Chengshun had already left the first floor of the Endless Treasures Pavilion. The 10-sage realm expert had also returned to the pavilion to cultivate in seclusion, leaving only Hao Run and Bai He waiting below. Seeing Wang Kai appear, before Hao Run could greet him, Bai He stepped forward to greet him. Brother Wang, long time no see. I'm really impressed. Bai He cupped his fists and said. Hearing this, Wang Kai raised his brow and looked at him with a playful expression. Last time in the ancient blissful city, this guy was still clamoring to take his life, but now he actually took the initiative to deliver himself to him and called him Big Brother? As the saying goes, there must be something wrong when things are out of the ordinary. Wang Kai did not believe that, Bai He did not have a motive. Haha, Brother Bai, you flatter me. Ben Shao has always been so high-spirited. He often makes people look at him in a new light. No matter where he goes, countless beauties will throw themselves at him. Sigh, Ben Shao is already numb to it. Wang Kai pretended to be sad and sighed. Congratulations to the host for successfully bragging. You have received 10,000 experience and 10 bragging points. Bai He's mouth twitched when he heard this. He used to think that Wang Kai was quite good at bragging. Now, he was even more certain of his thoughts. However, he only dared to think about it in his heart. That's right. Brother Wang's demeanor is unparalleled in the world. It's really a great blessing for me to be able to become brothers with you. Bai He cupped his fists and praised, but his smile was a little stiff. However, when Wang Kai heard this, his face darkened. He glared fiercely at Bai He and let out a muffled snort. Brother Bai, don't brag so much in the future. Since you've already said it, how can this young master continue to brag? Don't you know that Bin Xiao is the #1 bragger in the world? Congratulations to the host for successfully bragging. You have received 10,000 experience and 10 bragging points. Congratulations to the host for successfully breaking through to the 9th grade Great Emperor realm. Hearing this, Wang Kai's eyes lit up with joy. He quickly waved his hand and gestured for them to wait at the side, while he found a seat and sat down. Host, Wang Kai occupation, warrior realm, 9th grade Great Emperor cultivation method, Taiju Divine Emperor technique martial skills, Earth Shrink, Gate of Time, Palm Print 8 Desolation, Thunderclap Sword, 10,000 Demon Body Transformation, Vitality Bullet Equipment, Tong Tian Tower Bloodline. Level 7 Bragging Points, 389 Experience. 0.80000 my experience points have increased by more than 10,000. Wang Kai glanced at it and closed it with his mind. He would be lying if he said that he wasn't excited. As long as he reached the Saint Realm, his bloodline power would rise to the 8th level. Once his bloodline power increased, he would be able to stand shoulder to shoulder with the experts of the older generation, and even surpass many ordinary saints. Host, to break through to the Saint Realm, you need to cultivate the Everlasting Saint Soul Technique. Everlasting Saint Soul Technique? Wang Kai raised his eyebrows when he heard the notification. Every cultivation technique he cultivated had its own advantages. For example, he could completely crush his opponent at the same level, and his Sovereign Tao clone could also possess combat strength that surpassed his main body. I wonder what kind of ability this Everlasting Saint Soul Technique has. He couldn't wait to open the system and search for the Everlasting Saint Soul Technique. It actually requires 500 bragging points to cultivate. Wang Kai's face darkened when he saw it. He thought to himself that he only had 400 bragging points. If he wanted to reach the Saint Realm, he would need to brag a few more times. When Hao Run and Bai He saw Wang Kai's face changing between good and bad, they couldn't help but look at each other with doubts in their hearts. Ben Xiao's talent is too monstrous. He will soon become a saint. It will be easy for him to reach the Emperor realm among the saints. Even Ben Xiao himself is jealous of such talent. Wang Kai shook his head and sighed. Congratulations to the host for successfully bragging. You have received 10,000 experience points and 10 bragging points. Big Brother Wang is right. I've never heard of anyone with your talent and aptitude in the 6 prefectures and 1 island. Bai He chimed in and praised. Howren was not to be outdone. He immediately praised proudly. Of course, the emperor was able to suppress so many young sovereigns. It has already proved that the emperor is extraordinary. Wang Kai narrowed his eyes slightly when he heard this. He thought to himself that these 2 guys were quite smart. He immediately turned around and looked at Bai He with a faint smile. I don't know why Brother Wang is looking for me this time. Just say the word. There is nothing in this world that Ben Xiao can't do. Congratulations to the host for successfully bragging. You have received 10,000 experience points and 10 bragging points. As soon as he said this, Bai He's face lit up. He immediately stepped forward and cupped his fists, saying, I heard from the immortal goddess by Yin Yin that Brother Wang has the dustless fire, so I want to ask Brother Wang to help me refine a furnace of elixirs. Refining elixirs again? Could it be that the dustless fire couldn't hurt people, but it was very good at refining elixirs? The immortal goddess by Yin Yin is Ben Xiao's servant. She dared to tell you this information without Ben Xiao's permission? Wang Kai snorted unhappily. Bai He was extremely disdainful when he heard this. She had already started a plot against him, and he was still bragging. He immediately said frankly, Brother Wang, you may not know, but Bai Yin Yin has already told the Black-Winged Spirit Tiger clan. I'm afraid the Phoenix clan already knows. Was he trying to save 9 Fox Mountain by exposing himself to the world? Wang Kai frowned slightly and said with a rather playful smile, Then I wonder if 9 Fox Mountain is still safe? Although there are some losses, it's not a problem. The Black-Winged Spirit Tiger clan doesn't dare to destroy 9 Fox Mountain. If Bai Yin Yin is completely enraged with her immortal god flame, even a divine king won't be able to do anything, Bai He said bluntly. These words were extremely reasonable. The reason why Bai Yin Yin had endured time and time again was only to take care of the numerous fox demons of Nine Fox Mountain. If she didn't have these restraints, relying on the might of the undying and indestructible strange fire, other than the other strange fire controllers, no one in the 6 provinces and 1 island would be able to do anything to her. Then what is your relationship with Bai Yin Yin? Since you can hear information about Ben Xiao from her, why are you asking Ben Xiao to refine elixirs for you? Did the fox demons scratch your head until you became stupid? It's not that Ben Xiao wants to boast, but Ben Xiao can easily refine any elixir in the world. But do you think Ben Xiao will help you? Wang Kai snorted with disdain. Congratulations to the host for successfully bragging. You've received 10,000 experience and 10 bragging points. Bai's expression changed when he heard this. He cupped his hands and said sincerely, Big Brother Wang, don't misunderstand. You know that I have a good relationship with Hu Qinxiu, and Hu Qinxiu is Bai Yin Yin's niece. I heard that she wanted to frame Big Brother Wang, so I came to report. Ben Xiao, I think you came to ask for elixirs, right? Bai He, in front of Ben Xiao, don't play such tricks. Ben Xiao has walked more paths than you have eaten. Wang Kai snorted with disdain. Congratulations to the host for successfully bragging. You've received 10,000 experience and 10 bragging points. It began to PK with other novels. Whether or not he could win, and let this superb bragging system go further, he would have to rely on the support of fellow friends. Collection, repeat, review, rating of the mobile version of the book, recommendation tickets, tips. Not a single cent was too little. He was very grateful. Chapter 197. Big Brother Wang. The elixir that I am looking for is definitely not an ordinary one. If Big Brother is really a powerful alchemist, you should have heard of the 9 Revolutions Soul Return Elixir, right? Bai said solemnly. 9 Revolutions Soul Return Elixir? Wang Kai's brow furrowed when he heard this, thinking to himself, I haven't even eaten a single pill. How could I know about this pill? However, he pretended to be mysterious and said, Of course I know. There are millions of elixirs in the world. Ben Xiao can easily refine them. Furthermore, no alchemist can surpass him. Congratulations to the host for successfully bragging. You have received 10,000 experience points and 10 bragging points. You little rascal, is this the time to be bragging? The 9 Revolutions Soul Return Elixir is a heaven-grade sage-grade elixir. It has the ability to bring the dead back to life. Even the Sun Moon Island on the star Luo Sea, which is famous for refining elixirs and weapons, does not have many alchemists who can refine it. Cat Lord exclaimed. Hearing this, Wang Kaisen was quite surprised. There weren't many things that Lord Cat would take the initiative to approve of. Big Brother Wang, the 9 Revolutions Soul Return Elixir is not something that ordinary people can refine. Initially, I wanted to ask Big Brother Wang to help me refine it with the dustless flame. Since Big Brother calls himself an alchemist expert, why don't Big Brother Wang rest assured? As long as Big Brother agrees, I will give you the elixir formula with both hands. Bai said seriously. Brat, promise him. It doesn't matter if you can refine it or not. You have to get the pill formula first. If you can sell this pill formula to the alchemists of the Sun Moon Island, it will be a great fortune for you. Grandpa Cat said excitedly. How could there be such a good deal in this world? Wang Kai curled his lips in disdain. He looked at Bai He and said, The 9 Revolutions Soul Return Elixir can bring the dead back to life. Even in the Sun Moon Island, there are not many alchemists who can refine such an elixir. It is clear that the elixir formula is even more precious and rare. Where did you get it? Bai's expression changed slightly. Inside the sky connecting tower, Cat Lord also narrowed his eyes and stared at him. He was paying more attention to the origin of the elixir formula. Big Brother Wang, please forgive me. I cannot reveal this matter. Bai said with a frown. Cannot reveal it? Is that why he's looking for me? Wang Kai immediately felt that he was being looked down upon. He smiled with a mocking expression and said, If you take this pill formula to Sun Moon Island, not only will you obtain countless benefits, you can also get countless alchemists to refine pills for you. However, you didn't do that. Instead, you came to find Ben Shao. Do you think Ben Shao is weak and easy to bully? Big Brother Wong, you've misunderstood. Little brother would never dare to have such improper intentions. White River's expression suddenly changed, and he hurriedly cupped his fists and bowed to apologize. In fact, it was just as Wong Kai had guessed. The 9 Revolutions Soul Return Elixir's formula was so precious that he didn't dare to take it out easily. However, it was different if he gave it to Wong Kai. As the Emperor of the Endless Treasures Pavilion, after refining the elixir, he could transfer this disaster to Wong Kai. Even if the matter of the pill formula was exposed in the future, everyone in the world would go to Wong Kai to ask for the pill formula. However, if he directly went to the alchemists of Sun Moon Island's elixir region, it would definitely cause countless alchemist factions to fight over it. Even though the Bai family was considered a powerful faction in Sun Moon Island's elixir region, it would definitely be difficult for them to resist the oppression of the entire elixir region. There is only one 9 Revolutions Soul Return Elixir's formula. Whoever gave it to, it would anger many other factions. This was where Bai was in a difficult position. Haha, no matter what you're planning, it definitely won't benefit Ben Shao. Moreover, the 9 Revolution Soul Return Elixir is only a Saint Grade Heaven Grade Elixir. Ben Shao really doesn't care about it. Do you know that Ben Shao has been eating Saint Grade Elixirs like candy since he was born? Wong Kai said with a calm smile. Congratulations to the host for successfully bragging. You have received 10,000 experience points and 10 bragging points. The moment he said that, the corners of Bai's mouth twitched. Inside the heaven-connecting tower, Lord Cat's expression was one of utter disdain. To be able to brag to such an extent, no one could beat him. Big Brother Wong, please forgive me. As long as I can refine the 9 Revolutions Soul Return Elixir, I will definitely give you the formula. If you don't believe me, you could take me down first. If I can't fulfill my promise in the future, my life will be at your disposal. Bai said with a sincere expression. Wong Kai narrowed his eyes when he heard that. It didn't seem like Bai was lying to him. Since he would definitely give him the formula, there was only one thing he could do. Since the 9 Revolution Soul Return Elixir was so important, he definitely wouldn't dare to take it out so easily. He wants to obtain the 9 Revolutions Soul Return Elixir and at the same time, divert the trouble of the formula to Ben Shao. TSK, what a good plan. Wong Kai laughed coldly in his heart. With that in mind, Wong Kai shrugged and crossed his legs. With a mocking expression, he said, Ben Shao has already said that the 9 Revolution Soul Return Elixir is merely a saint-tier elixir. Ben Shao doesn't care about it. With Ben Shao's alchemy skills, he can refine it even without the formula. However, Ben Shao is extremely concerned about the origins of the formula. Do you understand what Ben Shao is trying to say? Congratulations to the host for successfully bragging. You have received 10,000 experience points and 10 bragging points. Brat, there's no need to waste your breath on him. Just capture him and interrogate him with torture. You even dared to kidnap the daughter of the Demon Lord, Run Huan Huan. Are you afraid of the Bai family of the Sun Moon Island? Cat Lord said as he stroked his long whiskers. Wong Kai's eyes narrowed when he heard this. This method could indeed be used, but it also depended on the person. If Bai didn't say anything even if he died, it would all be for naught in the end. Naturally, he wasn't willing to do such a thing. Big Brother Wong, I still need a few days to consider this matter, Bai said with a frown. Consider? Ben Shao is such an awesome person. Who knows how many beauties are waiting for Ben Shao? Time is really limited. I'll give you 3 days. If you can't make a decision by then, this matter will be dropped. Wong Kai said with a faint smile. Congratulations to the host for successfully bragging. You have received 10,000 experience points and 10 bragging points. Host, the experience points have been maxed out. If you want to break through, you need to cultivate the everlasting sacred soul technique as soon as possible. After hearing the notification, Wong Kai felt helpless. Of course, he wanted to break through to the Saint Realm. Then, even if he met Jing Xian, he wouldn't have to worry about anything. However, he just didn't have enough bragging points. Big Brother Wong, I'll be back in 3 days. He cupped his fists and bowed. In the blink of an eye, he left in a hurry. Wong Kai couldn't help but smile when he saw that. He waved his hand and said, Hao Run, order a sacred king to secretly follow him. Remember to be careful. He is only a boundary emperor, but we can't guarantee that he has other backing. Yes, your highness. Hao Ren's eyes shone brightly as he immediately left respectfully. Kid, if you can really find out where the 9 Revolution Soul Return Elixir's pill formula appeared, I'm afraid you'll have a great opportunity. Cat Lord stroked his long whiskers and chuckled excitedly. Great opportunity? What do you mean? Wong Kai asked with a frown. Even though he knew that there was definitely a treasure in that mysterious place, if Cat Lord said that it was a great opportunity, it wouldn't be simple. In the heaven-connecting tower, Cat Lord stroked his whiskers and said calmly, The 9 Revolutions Soul Return Elixir can only be refined by alchemists from thousands of years ago. Since the mysterious place has this elixir formula, it must be an ancient ruin left behind thousands of years ago. It's definitely not weaker than the one on Dragon Mountain. Chapter 198. An Ancient Relic? Wong Kai raised his eyebrows when he heard this. He had not expected that he, who was merely a quasi-emperor, would know the location of an ancient remnant. Furthermore, it seemed like not many people knew about it. It seems that this matter needs to be handled carefully. Wouldn't it be great if I could monopolize an ancient relic? Wong Kai squinted his eyes and smiled. He could not help but be greedy. Inside the Tong Tian Tower, Cat Lord nodded in agreement and said, You are right. If such an ancient relic is accidentally exposed, it will definitely cause the Myriad Demons Palace and other forces to fight over it. It will be extremely difficult for us to profit from it. The Myriad Demons Palace and other forces are just SOSO. As long as Ben Xiao is willing, he can come over and spit at them to kill them all. Wong Kai smiled casually. Congratulations to the host for successfully bragging. You have received 10,000 experience points and 10 bragging points. The host's experience points have reached the maximum, as you have not cultivated the everlasting sacred soul technique. You are unable to break through the realm. The system will temporarily store the experience points. Temporarily store? Host, Wong Kai Profession, Martial Artist Realm, 9th grade Great Emperor Cultivation Technique, Taiju Emperor Technique Martial Technique, Shrinking Ground, Time Gate, Palm Print 8 Desolation, Thunderclap Sword, Demon Body Transformation Technique, Vitality Bomb Equipment, Tong Tian Tower Bloodline, 7th grade Bragging Points, 479 Experience, 90000800000. Wong Kai glanced at it in surprise and closed it with his mind. He could not help but smile secretly. This is just right. I still need 3 bragging points to reach the required bragging points to cultivate the everlasting sacred soul technique. When I break through the Sage Realm, I can directly reach the 2nd grade. Kid, if you have the chance in the future, you should really go to the Sun Moon Island. Even if you mainly cultivate martial arts, you can use alchemy as a supplement. This way, you won't waste the dustless flame. Cat Lord stroked his long beard and smiled. Wong Kai narrowed his eyes. Although the dustless flame was the first of the 9 mystical flames, it did not have the ability to harm others. It only had the power to suppress other mystical flames. But from the looks of it, he must be extremely good at alchemy. If he could really become an alchemist, he would be able to act tough and earn a lot of money just by relying on alchemy. Wouldn't that be wonderful? Thinking of this, Wong Kai couldn't help but feel an unbearable itch in his heart. He immediately urged his mind to communicate with the system and asked, Is there an alchemy method? Host, there's only one pill codex in the system that can be cultivated. There really was. The pill ceremony. Wong Kai's face was filled with urgency as he searched for the pill codex. To his astonishment, he realized that cultivating the pill codex only required 9 bragging points. Could it be that this pill cannon is trash? Wang Kai frowned as he muttered to himself. Host, everything stored in the system is an immeasurable treasure. After hearing the notification, Wang Kai raised his eyebrows and thought to himself, as expected of the bragging system. Even the system itself is quite good at bragging. Cultivate the Alchemy Codex. Congratulations to host for successfully cultivating the Alchemy Pill Manual. 9 bragging points have been consumed. Congratulations to host for successfully activating the Alchemy Furnace. You have received a 9 Dragon Cauldron. Congratulations to host for successfully activating the Alchemy Auxiliary Profession. If the Pill Codex is of the same level as the Martial Arts realm, you will receive 10,000 experience points for 100 pills. Host, Wang Kai Profession, Martial Artist Auxiliary Profession, Alchemist Realm, 9th Grade Great Emperor Cultivation Technique, Taiju Emperor Technique, Alchemy Codex Martial Techniques, Shrinking Ground, Gates of Time, Palm of Desolation, Thunder Sword, Demon Body Transformation, Elemental Bullet Equipment, Tong Tian Tower, 9 Dragon Cauldron Bloodline, 7th Grade Bragging Points, 470 Experience. 900080000, 9 Dragon Cauldron. Bang! Wang Kai's expression was filled with excitement as he took out the 9 Dragon Cauldron. Looking at the black cauldron in front of him, it was as tall as a person. There were 9 black dragons circling around the cauldron. The rest of the cauldron was engraved with dense and complicated ancient words. Host, if you want to break through the Alchemy Master Realm, you only need to send your consciousness into the 9 Dragon Cauldron. Hearing the prompt, Wang Kai squinted his eyes and sent his consciousness into the 9 Dragon Cauldron. Immediately, a message appeared in his mind. 9 Dragon Cauldron Host, Wang Kai Profession, Alchemist Cultivation Technique, Alchemy Manual Realm. 1st Grade Alchemy Apprentice Experience, 0/100, only 100 experience points? How do I get it? Wang Kai frowned as he asked. Host, with your current Alchemy Master Realm, you need to concoct 100 1st grade pills. Pills were divided into 10 grades. 1st grade was the Apprentice grade. 8th grade was the Holy grade. Every grade was further divided into Heaven, Earth, Black, and Yellow. Wang Kai thought for a while, and his face darkened. He couldn't help but say in distress, I need my Alchemy Master Realm to be of the same level as my Martial Arts Realm before I can concoct 100 pills. Doesn't that mean that Ben Xiao needs to be of the Alchemy Master Realm before he can concoct 100 pills and gain 10,000 experience points? The realm of Alchemy Emperor. The medicinal pills required must be Tier 7. However, his Alchemy Master Realm had just started. He was only an alchemy apprentice. The pills he could concoct were only of the 1st grade. If I want to act tough in the future, I'll have to concoct pills until I'm old. Wang Kai sighed and kept the 9 Dragon Cauldron. He couldn't help but read through the Alchemy Master Book. The name of the first pill, the ingredients, and the concoction method appeared in his mind. Qi Gathering Pill, 1st grade. 3 Yellow Grass, 100 Wood Root, Dragon Whiskers. When refining in the 9 Dragon Cauldron, the pill can be formed in a short time. If there is the help of a special flame, the success rate can be 100%. If the dustless flame is used to refine the pill will reach the Heaven grade with 100% certainty. Heaven grade, pills from 1 to 10 grades are divided into Heaven, Earth, Black, and Yellow. The Heaven grade was the peak level. The higher the Alchemy Master Realm was, the harder it was to concoct pills. The success rate would also decrease. It would be even harder for the pills to reach the Heaven grade. If the dustless flame was used, the success rate would reach the Heaven grade, and the success rate would be 100%. Wouldn't it be a weapon to act tough in the future? Just as Wang Kai was secretly rejoicing, Hao Ren walked over with a respectful expression and bowed. Your Highness, it has been arranged. Wang Kai nodded slightly when he heard that. He immediately stood up with his hands behind his back and said with a smile, Find a secluded place for me. I'm going to cultivate in seclusion for 3 days. No one is to disturb me. Yes, Your Highness, Howren hurriedly replied. Oh, right. Go and find the ingredients needed to concoct pills for me. For the time being, send the 3 yellow grass, 100 wood root, and dragon whiskers. 100, 200 sets of each. Howren was puzzled when he heard that. However, the 3 ingredients were not precious. If he wanted to find them, it was extremely easy. He immediately replied, Yes, Your Highness. In the stone room, Wang Kai sat on the stone bed and looked at the 9-dragon cauldron in front of him. Brat, could it be that you're really a powerful alchemist? You even have a cauldron. Why haven't I seen you concoct pills before? Cat Lord stroked his long whiskers and asked in surprise. Wang Kai shrugged casually when he heard that. He smiled indifferently and said, Bin Xiao has never liked to be too ostentatious. It's because nothing in the world is difficult for Bin Xiao. Even if I say it, it's not of much use. As a person, it's better to be humble. Congratulations to the host for successfully bragging. You've gained 10,000 experience and 10 bragging points. Inside the Tower of Babel, Lord Cat's entire body quivered. He suddenly regretted asking that question. Chapter 199. Your Highness, 200 portions of 3 yellow grass, 100 wood root, and dragon whiskers are ready. As Hao Ren's voice came in, Wang Kai's eyes lit up with joy. He could not wait to wave his hand and open the stone door. Hao Ren bent his body slightly and lowered his head as he carried a space ring into the stone room. He glanced at the pitch-black 9-dragon cauldron from the corner of his eyes, and his pupils immediately shrank. At first, he was still wondering if Wang Kai knew how to refine pills. He never thought that he would have even prepared a cauldron. Well, you can go. Bin Xiao will come out to see by in 3 days. Before that, don't disturb Bin Xiao for anything, understand? Wang Kai narrowed his eyes and said with a smile. Hao Ren nodded respectfully. When he turned around and was about to leave, he suddenly hesitated. In the end, he chose to turn back and said, Your Highness, tomorrow the 3rd prince will come to the southern region's treasure trove city. I heard that he has just broken through to the Saint Realm. He wants to ask Your Highness about your crimes. The 3rd prince? Ask for my crimes? Wang Kai raised his eyebrows when he heard this. He smiled with a surprised expression and said, He wants to ask Bin Xiao about his crimes. Rumor has it that His Highness, the 3rd prince, is in love with Miao Yin. Due to the auction, the 3rd prince was in seclusion to make a breakthrough. Now that he has come out of seclusion, he has successfully become a saint. After hearing about the Miao Yin auction hosted by the 3rd prince, Hao Ren fell silent. Wang Kai suddenly understood. He nodded casually and said with a faint smile, You did a good job. Bin Xiao knows. You can go. It was that simple. Hao Ren's face was full of doubts. No one knew what he was thinking. He suddenly gritted his teeth and said, Your Highness, don't you want to make preparations? The 3rd prince is now in the Saint Realm. The Saint Realm powerhouse of the Treasure Trove Tower will not intervene in the battle between the princes. Haha, is the Saint Realm very awesome? It's not that Bin Xiao wants to boast, but even if he were to appear in front of Bin Xiao right now, he would only need to look at him from the corner of his eyes, and he would be willing to bow and bend his knees as a servant. Wang Kai said with a proud smile, Congratulations to the host for successfully bragging. You have received 10,000 experience points and 10 bragging points. The corner of Wang Kai's mouth twitched when he heard this. His original intention was to sit in the same boat as Wang Kai. After all, Emperor Fan seemed to have a very different relationship with him. Moreover, Wang Kai's courage and ruthlessness were very much to his liking. In Hao Ren's opinion, people like Wang Kai would either soar or fall into hell. However, at that moment, Wang Kai simply did not care about the 3 imperial princes at all. Furthermore, he did not plan to make any preparations. For the sake of his own future, Hao Ren could only grit his teeth and say again, Your Highness, actually, we could spend a lot of money to invite a Saint Realm powerhouse of the Demon Clan to. Wang Kai raised his eyebrows when he heard this. He saw Hao Ren raise his hand and swipe it across his neck. His eyes immediately narrowed slightly, and he could not help but laugh. Hao Ren, you are indeed very smart and know how to please others. However, if you have decided to follow Ben Shao loyally, you don't have to worry about the 3 imperial princes. If there is really any other need, Ben Shao will naturally instruct you to do it. If there is no other instruction, there is no need to waste your breath. Yes, your highness. Hao Ren's eyes flashed, and he immediately retreated respectfully. Wang Kai's words had undoubtedly accepted Hao Ren's allegiance. Boy, you've gone too far this time, haven't you? The Saint Realm is not comparable to the Emperor Realm. Cat Lord stroked his long whiskers and sneered. Wang Kai shrugged when he heard this and smiled indifferently. A saint is nothing. In Ben Shao's eyes, he has never given up on any powerhouse of any level. As the saying goes, block soldiers with arms, water with an earth weir. Ben Shao, on the other hand, is an easy victory for him. Congratulations to the host for successfully bragging. You have received 10,000 experience points and 10 bragging points. Host, bragging points have reached 500 points. Do you wish to cultivate the everlasting holy soul technique? Of course. Congratulations to the host for successfully cultivating the everlasting holy soul technique. 500 bragging points have been consumed. Congratulations to the host for successfully breaking through to the second stage, Saint Realm. Congratulations to the host for successfully upgrading the bloodline to the 8th level. Host, Wang Kai profession, martial artist auxiliary profession, alchemist realm. Second stage, saint cultivation techniques. Everlasting holy soul technique, alchemy codex martial skills. Earth shrink, gate of time, palm print 8 desolation, thunderclap sword, myriad demon body transformation, vitality bullet equipment, Tong Tian Tower, 9 dragon cauldron bloodline, 8th level bragging points, 0 experience. 300,008,000. Since the Emperor level martial skills have not disappeared, it means that the Saints are still unable to use the Saint level martial skills. Just like the Emperor realm, only the Emperor realm can use the Saint level martial skills. I wonder what Realm 1 needs to be in to use the Saint level martial skills. Wang Kai frowned and asked in his mind, Host, when you reach the Holy Emperor realm, you can use the Saint level martial skills. Wang Kai nodded slightly when he heard the notification. Since he could not use the Saint level martial skills, other Saints could not as well. In that case, there was no need to be too concerned. Why is there no Saint tribulation? Could it be that they were really scared by Ben Shao's heroic figure and retreated? Wang Kai raised his eyebrows and smiled. Since there was no Saint tribulation, it was naturally a good thing. There was no need to be too concerned. Congratulations to the host for successfully bragging. You have received 10,000 experience and 10 bragging points. Wang Kai was also confused about the Tower of Babel. Until now, it was still in the system's information. Big stupid cat, isn't the Tower of Babel an emperor weapon? Wang Kai raised his eyebrows and asked. Inside the Tower of Babel, Lord Cat was so angry that he stomped his feet. He said disdainfully, Lord Cat is the phantom emperor of the monster continent. Would I be seriously injured and lose my cultivation level for a mere emperor weapon? What level is the Tower of Babel now? Wang Kai asked curiously. It is only an emperor weapon for now. However, it was originally a saint weapon. Lord Cat said proudly. Saint weapon. Wang Kai narrowed his eyes. He did not expect the Tower of Babel to be a saint weapon. However, it seemed that it would be very difficult to restore it to the level of a saint weapon. If you have a way to restore the grade of a Tower of Babel, just say the word. Now that you and I are brothers who have gone through thick and thin together, I will naturally not treat you unfairly. Wang Kai shrugged and smiled. Inside the Tong Tian Tower, Grandpa Cat suddenly went silent. After a long while, he said with a complicated tone, Only the Sun Moon Island can restore the Tong Tian Tower's grade. When you can complete the Fanzhou Empress Order, Grandpa Cat will naturally seek your help. Wang Kai nodded and took out a set of ingredients for the Qi-gathering pill from his interspatial ring. 3 yellow grass, a total of 3 leaves. They are yellow in color and do not wither in all seasons. They can gather spiritual energy from heaven and earth. 100 wood root, a foot long. They're taken from the roots of a 100-year-old spiritual tree and cut off its essence. Dragon whisker, a medicinal plant. They are like dense roots. They are medicinal plants that gather spiritual energy from heaven and earth. After seeing the 3 alchemy materials, information automatically appeared in Wang Kai's mind. This phenomenon made Wang Kai quite surprised. Perhaps he would be able to see through any ingredients in the future. Poof! Wang Kai flicked his finger, and a pale white flame ignited at the tip of his finger. Then he pointed it at the 9-dragon cauldron. One could see that the originally pitch-black 9-dragon cauldron had actually turned pale white. The 9 black dragons had also turned into silver-scaled silver dragons. Moreover, pale white flames were being continuously spat out from their mouths into the cauldron. When Lord Kai refines pills, it will definitely be of heaven grade. In the future, when I chase girls, I will throw pills at them. Swish, swish, swish. Wang Kai laughed excitedly. He flipped his hand and threw the 3 ingredients into the 9-dragon cauldron. Chapter 200. Wang. The moment the 3 alchemy materials were thrown into the 9-dragon cauldron, the 9 silver dragons spat out a silvery white brilliance that gathered at the center of the cauldron. They formed a cluster of silver-white light. As the 9 silver dragons gradually transformed back to their original black color, the cluster of light also gradually shrank. In the end, it transformed into a thumb-sized pill. Why would he need a short while? Clearly, less than 10 breaths was enough. Wang Kai looked at the pill with excitement. He turned his hand and took it. It emitted a milky white halo, and a wisp of pill fragrance wafted out from it. On the surface of the pill, there were 4 golden stripes. Congratulations to the host for successfully refining a Tier 1 heaven-level pill. You have received 1 experience point. For golden stripes, it must be heaven rank. A Tier 1 heaven grade Dan. The dustless flame is truly amazing. Not only is the refining speed extremely fast, the grade is also among the top ranks. Wang Kai's expression was full of admiration. Inside the Tong Tian Tower, Cat Lord stroked his long whiskers and smiled faintly. Of course, the dustless fire has been famous for thousands of years. Only the dustless fire is the best at refining elixirs in the world. The elixirs refined by the dustless fire do not contain any impurities. Then, Wang Kai began to concoct, as if he was possessed. In less than half an hour, all 200 sets of ingredients were used up. In front of him were 200 first realm heaven-level dawn, 9-dragon cauldron host, Wang Kai profession, alchemist cultivation method, pill codex realm, 3rd grade pill apprentice experience. 0 out of 100. Wang Kai swiftly glanced at it, before activating his mind to close it. His expression was rather indifferent as he smiled and said, "Looks like I still need to refine 600 Tier 1 heaven grade pills before I can reach the alchemist level." The realms of alchemists were the same as martial artists. From the weakest to the strongest, they were pill apprentice, pill master, pill general, pill ancestor, pill king, pill emperor, pill saint, pill immortal, and pill deity. As of now, Wang Kai had only just begun to concoct pills. His cultivation level was the lowest level of alchemy apprentice, and the pills he could concoct were only of the 1st tier. However, if he wanted to reach the level where he could refine the 9 Revolution Soul Return pill, he had to at least become an alchemy saint. After all, the 9 Transformations Soul Return Elixir was an 8th grade sacred elixir. Rumble. Wang Kai opened the stone door with a wave of his hand. He wanted to summon Hao Run, but he found him standing beside the stone door with a solemn expression. "Your Highness, do you have any instructions?" Hao Run turned around and bowed respectfully with cupped fists. It had to be said that Hao Run was indeed too shrewd, especially when it came to serving those in power. "Bring me another 600 sets of alchemy materials," Wang Kai said with a faint smile. "Your Highness, it's all ready. I've specially prepared an extra 1,000 portions in case of an emergency. Now, there are still 800 portions left." Hao Ren's eyes sparkled as he said with a smile. Wang Kai raised his eyebrows when he heard this. There weren't many subordinates who could do what Hao Ren did. It was no wonder that he could become the steward of the treasure trove pavilion despite being in the Emperor realm. Well, you've done well. Leave all 800 portions here and find me 1,000 sets of second, third, and eighth grade alchemy materials. Wang Kai narrowed his eyes and said with a smile. Since he had successfully refined the pill and could use the dustless fire to refine it so quickly, he naturally had to quickly raise his alchemist level. However, Hao Ren nodded repeatedly when he heard this, but in the end, his face was full of embarrassment. Your Highness, it's not difficult to find second to sixth grade alchemy materials. Seventh grade alchemy materials can be found with a lot of money, but the eighth grade alchemy materials, Hao Ren said with embarrassment. Wang Kai frowned slightly when he heard this. He smiled with a puzzled expression and said, there are countless alchemists on Sun Moon Island. There should be many alchemy saints who can refine eighth grade pills, right? Since that's the case, would there be a shortage of eighth grade alchemy materials? It's not a shortage. It's just that the price is too high. Just one portion would cost 100,000 eighth grade spirit stones. I'm only the steward of the treasure trove pavilion. The spirit stones I can use are limited, so, Hao Ren said with an apologetic smile. Although he wanted to show off in front of Wang Kai, what could he do if he didn't have enough money? With Hao Ren's financial resources, it was not easy to find second to seventh grade alchemy materials. However, one portion of eighth grade alchemy materials would cost at least 100,000 spirit stones. 1,000 portions would be 100 million eighth grade spirit stones. Wang Kai thought for a while, and his face darkened. He secretly thought that he had only obtained 80 million eighth grade spirit stones from the auction of Sweet Sound. Now, it was not enough to buy eighth grade alchemy materials. Ahem, as the Emperor of the Treasure Trove Pavilion, Bin Xiao can't use some spirit stones? Wang Kai smiled with a slightly unnatural expression. A dignified emperor's bragging was stumped by spirit stones. It was really embarrassing. Even if he wanted to act tough, he couldn't. Of course you can, but I can only use 50 million eighth grade spirit stones. Also, I need the permission of the Empress of Fanzhou. Hao Ren said, only 50 million. Wang Kai's face darkened. The emperors of the four great families of Wu province, as well as the emperors of the other provinces, could use up to 100 million, but he only had 50 million. The Treasure Trove Pavilion was definitely not weaker than the other forces. In terms of spirit stones, they definitely surpassed the other forces. However, the spirit stones they could use were so little. The astute Hao Ren naturally saw through Wang Kai's intention. He immediately said respectfully, Your Highness, you may not know this, but there are a total of 4 princes. Each of them can use 50 million eighth grade spirit stones from the Endless Treasures Pavilion. The prince who wins in the end can use 200 million eighth grade spirit stones. If he can become a holy son, the amount of spirit stones he can use is unimaginable. Wang Kai squinted after hearing this. He had no idea what the Empress of Fanzhou was thinking. She could even make 4 emperors. However, Wang Kai clearly understood that the emperors of the Treasure Trove Pavilion were indeed wealthy. The spirit stones they could use were twice the amount of spirit stones compared to the emperors of the other provinces. However, the prerequisite was that they had to stand out in the competition and become the only emperor of the Treasure Trove Pavilion. You mentioned that the 3rd emperor's son will be here tomorrow, right? Wang Kai said with a playful smile. Hao Ren was startled. Although he did not understand Wang Kai's intention, he still nodded and said, That's right. He will be here before noon tomorrow. That's great. Use my 100 million eighth grade spirit stones to find some eighth grade spirit stones. As for the remaining materials, Bin Xiao will give you 30 million eighth grade spirit stones. Is that enough? Wang Kai said with a calm smile. Your Highness, not only is it enough, I have more than enough. Hao Ren said with a smile. Wang Kai nodded and asked Hao Ren to memorize the materials needed to refine elixirs from the 2nd grade to the 8th grade. He shrugged and asked curiously, Don't you want to ask Bin Xiao why he needs to use 100 million 8th grade spirit stones? Your Highness, when the third Emperor's son arrives tomorrow, he will either be killed or enslaved. Hao Ren's eyes flashed, and he replied with a smile. He was even more certain that it was the right decision to rely on Wang Kai. For example, although the three emperors had many small conflicts over the years, there had never been a real big conflict. However, Wang Kai dared to think of depriving the third emperor's son of his rights as emperors. The difference in courage between the two was obvious. Wang Kai's mouth twitched when he heard this. His forehead was full of black lines as he waved his hand and said, "Hurry up and get the elixir refining materials. Damn it, with such a smart person by my side, I don't even have the chance to brag." Chapter 201. For an entire day and night, Wang Kai was immersed in his crazy alchemy. Until the morning of the second day, the initial excitement and surprise had disappeared. He suddenly felt that alchemy was not difficult at all. There was not much meaning in it. 9 Dragon Cauldron Host, Wang Kai Profession, Alchemist Cultivation Method, Alchemy Book Realm, Grade 9 Alchemy Saint Experience. 0 out of 100. Wang Kai casually glanced at it, then happily closed it with his mind. He smiled faintly and said, "The Tao of alchemy is just a piece of cake. If I want to, I can step into the level of alchemy immortal at any time." Congratulations to the host for successfully bragging. You have received 10,000 experience and 10 bragging points. Inside the Tong Tian Tower, Lord Cat was already numb. When he heard Fang Jingji's words, he did not care. It was hard to imagine that there was such a genius alchemist in the world. From the 1st grade to the 8th grade without any hindrance, every single one of them was of the saint level. If Wang Kai went to the Sun Moon Island, many alchemists would be jealous to death. However, the pill formula recorded in the alchemy book is only for the energy gathering pill. From the 1st grade to the 8th grade is still the energy gathering pill. Wang Kai sighed speechlessly. He thought that the 9 Revolutions Soul Return pill would also be recorded in the alchemy book. Who knew that he could not find it after searching everywhere? Other than the pill formula of the energy gathering pill, the rest of the records were about the various ingredients for alchemy. Fang Jingji looked at the 8,000 energy gathering pills in his spatial ring. There were 1,000 of them from the 1st grade to the 8th grade. The energy gathering pill is useful to any cultivator, but it is useless to me. However, the taste is not bad. It is good enough to be eaten as a candy ball. Wang Kai's expression was rather indifferent. With a flick of his finger, a white chi gathering pill was tossed into his mouth and chewed. Congratulations to the host for successfully bragging. You have received 10,000 experience and 10 bragging points. Such a scene and such words made Lord Cat, who was in the Tong Tian Tower, tremble. Since when did the saint level and heaven grade elixir become a candy ball? Wang Kai was probably the only person in the world who would dare to do such a thing. Bastard brat, you're simply wasting God's gift. The energy gathering pill could definitely be called an ancient pill formula. Regardless of whether it was the Buddha energy of a Buddhist cultivator, the devil energy of a devil cultivator, or even the demonic energy of a demon cultivator, or the spiritual energy of a talisman cultivator, they could all use this energy gathering pill to increase their cultivation realm. You actually ate it like candy. You're pissing me off. Elder Cat stomped his feet and cursed. He really couldn't stand it anymore. No one would be able to accept Wang Kai's actions. Hearing this, Wang Kai shrugged his shoulders indifferently. With a flick of his finger, another energy-gathering pill entered his mouth. As he chewed and enjoyed it, he smiled faintly and said, "Recklessly wasting natural resources? It couldn't be helped. Who asked Ben Xiao to be so awesome? It's just a pill." From the very beginning, Ben Xiao's plan was to refine it so that he could show off and pick up girls. As for breaking through to the next level, would he still need qi amassing pills? It was completely useless. He still had to rely on bragging. Congratulations to the host for bragging successfully. You've received 10,000 experience points and 10 bragging points. Then you should give Elder Cat some too. For the time being, Just give Elder Cat a level 7 pill. Elder Cat has been accumulating for many years. I can definitely break through to the saint level in one go, Elder Cat said eagerly. Rather than watching Wong Kai show off and waste natural resources, it would be better to swallow it and refine it so that it could break through to the next realm. Wong Kai raised his eyebrows when he heard this. With a playful smile, he said, "Big stupid cat, you're not a beauty, a fairy, or a goddess. Why should Ben Shao give it to you? Why don't you use the treasures in your treasure vault to exchange for it? Bastard Brad, didn't you say that we were fellow sufferers? Why are you turning your back on me now?" Elder Cat was so angry that his whole body was trembling. "Yeah, we're fellow sufferers. But now Ben Shao isn't in any trouble. Ben Shao didn't say that we would share blessings together." Wong Kai shrugged and laughed mockingly. Inside the Tong Tian Tower, Elder Cat was so angry that he was pacing around in circles. He stroked his long whiskers and hesitated. The treasures in the treasure vault were extremely precious, but the Qi gathering pill was an ancient pill. If he could swallow a few hundred level 7 Qi gathering pills, he could definitely become a saint. Now that it was in front of him, he couldn't resist the temptation. Crunch, crunch. Wong Kai's expression was incomparably carefree as he crushed the Qi gathering pills one by one. The crisp sound and the smacking of his lips immediately stimulated Elder Cat's fur to stand on end. "Elder Cat will exchange with you. Give Elder Cat 500 level 7 Qi gathering pills first." Elder Cat bared his teeth and shouted, "Wouldn't it have been better if you had done this earlier?" Wong Kai raised his eyebrows and squinted his eyes slightly. He threw the level 7 Qi gathering pills into the Tong Tian Tower as if he was throwing trash. Moreover, there were a total of 1,000 pills. Seeing Wong Kai being so generous and throwing the pills as if he was throwing trash, Elder Cat's mouth twitched and his eyes slanted. He was so angry that smoke almost came out of his 7 orifices. Alchemists are indeed so despicable. Elder Cat cursed in his heart. "Your Highness, the third Prince Huyin outing has arrived." Hao Ren's voice came from outside the stone door. Suddenly, Wong Kai's expression froze when he heard it. Hee, it just so happens that Ben Shao is feeling a little bored. For the time being, I'll use Huyin outing to pass the time. Wong Kai smiled indifferently and put away the 9-dragon cauldron with a flip of his hand. Rumble. As the stone door opened, Wong Kai's body was filled with the fragrance of pills. Suddenly, Hao Ren's expression became very comfortable, and he squinted his eyes as if he was intoxicated. He could not help but move closer to Wong Kai. When Wong Kai saw this, his face suddenly turned black. He moved a few steps away and suppressed the annoyance in his heart. He said indifferently, "Hao Ren, on account of your contributions these few days, Ben Shao will reward you with 500 level 6 heaven pills. When you break through to the Emperor realm, Ben Shao will refine a furnace of level 7 heaven pills for you when he has the time." Swoosh! As soon as he finished speaking, before Hao Ren could react, Wong Kai threw a space ring over. After a quick check, Hao Ren found that there were 500 level 6 heavenly pills inside. The 4 golden stripes on the pills could not be faked. Plop! Hao Ren immediately knelt on the ground and said excitedly, "Thank you, Your Highness, for your reward. I will do my best in the future until I die." Little did he know that Hao Ren's talent was limited and he had been stuck at the martial Emperor realm. Now that he had the help of the level 6 heaven pills, he could definitely step into the Emperor realm. Such a reward made Hao Ren feel that he had not followed the wrong person. Crack! Crack! Wong Kai nodded gently. With a flick of his finger, he swallowed a few 8-grade Saint-grade heavenly pills. He listened to the sound of them slurping and the aura of the pills he swallowed. Hao Ren was dumbfounded. His mouth and eyes were wide open, and his face was full of disbelief. "Your Highness, what you just ate, was it a divine grade heaven pill?" Hao Ren asked tentatively. As the manager of the Endless Treasures Pavilion, he could naturally see that the pills were extraordinary. However, he did not want to believe it. Who in the world would eat a divine grade heaven pill in such a way? When Wang Kai heard this, he raised his eyebrows. He put his hands behind his back and spat the pills on the ground. He smiled faintly and said, "That's right. It is indeed a divine grade heaven pill. However, the taste is too disgusting. Sigh, the grade is also rubbish. It is not even as good as the pills Ben Shao had when he was young." Congratulations to the host for successfully bragging. You have received 10,000 experience points and 10 bragging points. Congratulations to the host for successfully breaking through to the 3rd grade sage realm. Chapter 202. It really was a saint-level pill. Didn't that prove that Wang Kai was a noble alchemy saint? At first, Hao Run was secretly suspicious that Wang Kai needed saint-level alchemy materials. Now that he had confirmed it, he suddenly felt extremely astonished. Not only did his martial arts surpass many of the young generation supremes, but even his alchemy skills were so powerful. Alchemy saints belong to the highest class in the 6 continents and 1 island. Your Highness, are you really a saint-level alchemist? Hao Run couldn't help but ask tentatively. Wang Kai raised his eyebrows when he heard this, but his expression was incomparably indifferent as he smiled and said, "Yes, I used a night of careful grinding to reach the level of saint-level alchemist. AI, it took too long. Ben Shao is very dissatisfied. Logically speaking, he should have reached this level in an hour." Congratulations to the host for successfully bragging. You have received 10,000 experience points and 10 bragging points. Hao Ren's mouth suddenly twitched fiercely. Although he knew that Wang Kai was deliberately bragging, the alchemy materials he found were from the 1st grade to the 8th grade. This also proved that Wang Kai's claim of becoming a saint-level alchemist overnight was true. Boy, didn't you say that you were a very powerful alchemist? Now, why did you say that it took you a night to become a saint-level alchemist? Could it be that you were bragging to this Lord Cat before? Lord Cat stroked his long beard and ridiculed disdainfully. Wang Kai shrugged when he heard this, and his expression was quite indifferent as he smiled and said, "Ben Shao has always emphasized that he doesn't like to be too ostentatious. Just now, he said that to Hao Ren in order to keep a low profile. Thinking about it, Ben Shao is only 16 years old. If he had become a saint-level alchemist long ago, wouldn't it have caused a great sensation? AI, since ancient times, talented people have often been lonely. Congratulations to the host for successfully bragging. You have received 10,000 experience points and 10 bragging points." As soon as these words came out, Lord Cat's mouth became crooked. Compared to becoming a saint-level alchemist overnight, wouldn't becoming a saint-level alchemist cause less of a stir? He was definitely bragging again. On the 5th floor of the Treasure Trove building, in a private room, Wang Kai's expression was rather indifferent as he walked in. He saw a young man and a young woman sitting at the table. The young man was around 20 years old. He wore a golden robe and a jade crown on his head. However, his face looked extremely ordinary. As for the woman beside him, her appearance made Wang Kai's eyes light up. She really had a face like a hibiscus, willow leaf eyebrows, eyes that moved like the autumn water, and also like a gentle breeze. Her hands were soft, her skin was smooth, her hair was fine like silk, and her teeth were like rhinoceroses. She had a beautiful head and beautiful eyebrows. Furthermore, this woman was dressed like a man. However, she did not deliberately conceal it. Her cyan clothes were unable to conceal her proud bosom. "You're the commoner Wang Kai from Fan Province?" The 3rd prince, Huyan Outing, said coldly as he looked at Wang Kai. Seeing that he kept staring at Gu Bingning, his face turned extremely pale. However, Wang Kai did not pay attention to him. He did not even have the intention to look at him. Instead, he walked straight to the woman and sat down beside her. With one hand on the table, he used his palm to support half of his face. With a rather lazy expression, he asked with a smile, "How should I address you, miss? How old are you? Are you married?" As soon as these words came out, Huyan Outing's face was filled with rage. He immediately slammed the table and stood up. He pointed at Wang Kai and scolded sternly. How dare you? Miss Gu is from the spiritual state's #1 family of array cultivators. She is a direct descendant of the Gu family. How dare you be rude here? Kneel down and apologize right now. Miss Gu, how old are you? Are you married? If not, you can choose Ben Xiao. With such an outstanding talent like Ben Xiao, who knows how many beauties in the world admire him? If you can get Ben Xiao, TSK, you will be the envy of countless women in the world. Isn't that great? Wang Kai squinted his eyes and smiled. He still did not pay attention to Hu Yin outing. Congratulations to the host for successfully bragging. You have received 10,000 experience and 10 bragging points. Gu Bingning's beautiful eyebrows slightly raised. Her pretty face was filled with surprise. Who knows how many young masters have tried to strike up a conversation with her. However, none of them were as bold and direct as Wang Kai. My name is Gu Bingning. I am 23 years old and unmarried. Gu Bingning's beautiful eyebrows curved as a strange light flashed across her eyes. Wang Kai heard this and suddenly widened his eyes. He looked at her in disbelief and said in surprise, I didn't think that Miss Gu is already 23 years old. Ben Xiao just thought that Miss Gu was 15 or 16 years old. TSK. I wonder how Miss Gu takes care of herself? She actually looks so young. Puffed. Gu Bingning covered her face and chuckled. Her beautiful eyes looked at Wang Kai. As the saying goes, all girls love compliments. Naturally, she was no exception. She had long heard that Wang Kai had caused havoc in the Buddha region. When he came to the demon region, he suppressed many young sovereigns. He even killed 4 young sovereigns by himself. She originally thought that he would be a young master who loved to fight. However, who knew that he would be so humorous and witty? His appearance was also not bad. The feeling that he gave people was not bad. However, his playful personality made Gu Bingning sigh. No one is perfect. Crack. Suddenly, Hu Yin Outing's face turned ashen. The veins on his forehead bulged. He suddenly smashed the table into pieces. Wang Kai, a few days ago, you sold the joyful Buddha temple's disciple, Master Miaoyin. Then, you killed the Wu region's Zhou clan's direct descendant, Zhou Han, and the Zhang clan's direct descendant, Zhang Ruoxuan. Do you know how much trouble you have brought to the Endless Treasures Pavilion? Do you know your crime? Hu Yin Outing scolded sternly. At this moment, Wang Kai and Gu Bingning both stood up. Looking at the shattered table, the two of them frowned slightly. This scene made Hu Yin Outing even angrier. He suddenly felt that he was an outsider. It was as if Gu Bingning had come with Wang Kai. You seem to have missed out 2 people. The Breeze Sword Saint's disciple, Mo Qiubei, and the spiritual state's Shang Yunyi died at the hands of Ben Xiao. Today, there will be another 3rd prince of the Endless Treasures Pavilion. Wang Kai squinted his eyes and smiled faintly. Swoosh! As soon as these words came out, Hu Yin Outing's expression froze. Then he laughed out loud. He was so angry that he laughed and said, Kill me? You, Wang Kai, are only an ordinary person. Do you have the ability to do so? A cold glint flashed across Wang Kai's eyes when he heard these words. His expression was quite cold as he looked at him and said indifferently, As the Emperor of Endless Treasures Pavilion, you should know very well that the Empress is also from Fan Province. It's one thing for others to call this young master ordinary, to provoke this young master, but you actually dare to call her that? Are you tired of living? The Empress is indeed from the Fan region. However, her current achievements are not something an ordinary person can compare to. I am the young master of the Hu Yin family in the Wu region. Whether it is my background or strength, I'm not someone an ordinary person like you can compare to. Hu Yin Outing said disdainfully. Your Highness, the Hu Yin family was originally an unknown small family in the Wu region. However, because the 3rd prince had some talent and was valued by the Empress, the Hu Yin family rose to prominence. Although it is still not as good as the other major families, because of the existence of the Endless Treasures Pavilion, its status is extraordinary. The same goes for the other 2 princes. They are both from small families. Because of their talent and aptitude, the Empress valued them. This is why there are so many princes competing with each other. It's just that the last prince has not been decided yet. Recommendation votes. Recommendation votes. Thank you very much. Chapter 203. Upon hearing this, Wang Kai's eyebrows immediately twitched. His expression could not help but look at Huyin outing in disdain. With a disdainful smile, he said, "Your so-called Huyin aristocratic family was originally so insignificant and pitiful. You merely borrowed the influence of the treasure trove pavilion in order to obtain your current status. Such a rotten shrimp actually has the nerve to act high and mighty in front of this young master? Did you go out and look in a mirror?" Whoosh! After those words were spoken, Huyin Outing's face instantly became extremely ugly, especially when Gu Bingning was present. His face was as if it was on fire, but he could not refute it. After all, everyone knew about it, but no one was willing to say it in front of him. Unable to suppress the anger in his heart, he scolded, "You're just an ordinary person. Don't think that you're invincible just because you can suppress so many young sovereigns. If it wasn't for the great Empress order that I'm not allowed to participate in the sovereign ranking, with my talent, I would be ranked first." Ranked first? TSK, TSK. Wang Kai sneered in disdain as he walked up to him with a mocking look on his face. He reached out a hand and touched his head, saying with disdain, "It's just the Supreme Youth list. So what if you're number one? This young master can crush you to death with just a finger. Bastard, with a mere level 7 bloodline, you can only be a great emperor. How dare you be so disrespectful to me? Die." Whoosh! Huyin Outing suddenly burst into action. Wisps of green battle chi were released and gathered on his raised palm. Then he chopped down on Wang Kai's head. Pa! Crack! Ah! However, before the palm could land, it was caught by Wang Kai with a flip of his hand. With a forceful squeeze, the sound of bones cracking rang out incessantly. The pain caused Huyin Outing's face to turn deathly pale. He tilted his body and tiptoed, subconsciously hoping to alleviate some of the pain. Who told you that Ben Shao only has a level 7 bloodline? Who told you that Ben Shao is only a great emperor? You're just a piece of trash who just stepped into the sage realm. How dare you show off in front of Ben Shao? Even a Saint Emperor would have to bow his head before me. Do you understand? Wang Kai said with a disdainful sneer. Congratulations to the host for successfully bragging. You have received 10,000 experience points and 10 bragging points. Then Wang Kai lifted his leg and kicked hard. His grip loosened and Huyin Outing fell to the ground. Huyin Outing hugged his broken arm and rolled back and forth on the ground in pain. He was in so much pain that the veins on his forehead bulged. They couldn't believe that Wang Kai wasn't a great emperor, but a Saint Realm expert. Furthermore, he was definitely above the first grade sage realm. He had thought that by breaking through to the sage realm, he could take the opportunity to get rid of Wang Kai, the prince who had suddenly appeared. At the same time, he could win Miao Yin's love. But who would have thought that the result would be like this? Bang! Crack! Wang Kai lifted his leg and kicked out, sending Huyin Outing's body flying into the air. Huyin Outing crashed into the window and shattered it. The intense pain almost caused Huyin Outing to pass out. You're such a weak sage. How dare you say that you're awesome? With your insignificant cultivation, Ben Shao could have killed you in one move when he was young. I don't know where you got the confidence to come here and show off in front of Ben Shao. Wang Kai said with a disdainful sneer. Congratulations to the host for successfully bragging. You have received 10,000 experience points and 10 bragging points. Gu Bingning's beautiful eyes flashed with a strange light, but she stood quietly at the side and didn't make any moves. However, Huyin Outing, who knew that he had lost a lot of face, immediately endured the intense pain. He gritted his teeth and scolded sternly. The Huyin family won't let you off. If you kill yourself now, I can leave you with a complete corpse. He believed that Wang Kai was just an ordinary person from the Fan province. He didn't have any backing here, so he wouldn't dare to kill him. The Huyin family? TSK, TSK. Presumably, You and the other two princes have never had a clear winner because you don't want your respective families to fall, right? Once one of them loses power, the family behind him will no longer receive help from the Endless Treasures building. As a result, there are always several princes in the Endless Treasures building. Am I right? Wang Kai narrowed his eyes and smiled. Huyan Outing's pupils shrank when he heard this. He gritted his teeth and sneered. So what if you're right? You don't have any support in the 6 provinces and 1 island. The Endless Treasures building won't intervene in the battle between the princes. Have you thought about the consequences of making an enemy out of me? Ignorance can be really scary sometimes. If Ben Shao kills you now, will the Endless Treasures building still treat the Huyan family as a family? When that time comes, will the Huyan family dare to seek revenge on Ben Shao? Wang Kai said with a mocking smile. Whoosh! Suddenly, a figure flashed in from outside the door and appeared in front of Huyan Outing. It was an old man with white hair. Although he looked old, he was somewhat similar to Huyan Outing. His aura wasn't obvious, but he was definitely a Saint Realm expert. Haha, you want to kill me? Do you have the ability to do so? Huyan Outing laughed with a gloomy face. Wang Kai raised his eyebrows when he saw this. He looked at the old man with a playful expression. He put his hands behind his back and smiled indifferently. How can an outsider break into the Endless Treasures building so easily? Whoosh! As soon as these words came out, Hao Ren's eyes flashed. He immediately scolded in a fierce voice. How dare you? How dare you break into the Endless Treasures building without permission? Men, take this person down. Whoosh! Whoosh! In an instant, 10 experts of the Endless Treasures building appeared together. 2 of them were at the peak of the Saint Realm and 8 Saint Kings. As soon as they appeared, they joined forces and attacked the old man. How dare you? How dare you? That's my Tao protector. Who dares? No. Huyan Outing scolded loudly when he saw this. However, before he could finish his words, he saw that his own saint had been captured by the other party. The eyes of the old man from the Huyan family were terrifyingly cold. He stared coldly at Wang Kai and said, Young man, you should leave a way out. Even if Nephew Outing is no longer the emperor of the Endless Treasures building, it will be difficult for you, a Saint Realm expert, to resist the pursuit of my Huyan family. Slap! A crisp sound was heard. The old man stared furiously at Wang Kai. He felt the burning pain on his face and the deep humiliation. He immediately scolded in a frenzy. Junior Wang Kai, you must die. Wang Kai's eyes narrowed slightly when he heard this. He looked at him with an indifferent expression and raised his hand to slap him again. Slap! You slap! In the end, the old man was so angry that his face was distorted. He could only stare at Wang Kai angrily. From now on, Huyan Outing will no longer be the emperor of the Endless Treasures building. If the Huyan family dares to be presumptuous, Ben Shao will naturally destroy them, Wang Kai said indifferently. Then, he turned his hand and slapped down. Bang! Ah, Huyan Outing's head was hit hard. Blood flowed from his eyes, nose, and ears. He died on the spot. Congratulations to the host for successfully killing a first-grade saint expert. You have gained 10,000 experience. He actually killed him. Gu Bingning's beautiful eyes suddenly widened. She thought that Wang Kai would only teach him a lesson. She didn't expect that he would really kill Huyan Outing. Hao Ren, who was at the door, was very excited. He was more and more sure that he didn't follow the wrong person. Once they met, he killed the emperor. In this way, the only emperor of the Endless Treasures building in the future would be Wang Kai. When that time came, Hao Ren's status would also rise. Junior Wang Kai, the Huyan family will not let you live. Whoosh! After the old man from the Huyan family let out a furious roar, cyan battle aura swept out from his entire body. The degree of the battle aura was simply terrifying. His body gradually began to expand. Not good. He's going to self-destruct. Although he could restrain the old man of the Huyan family, no one expected him to choose to self-destruct. The self-destruction of a saint expert Even a Saint King, at such a close distance, would be seriously injured. In an instant, everyone's faces changed. Chapter 204. Gate of Time. Buzz. A silver-white cubic gate suddenly condensed and emerged in front of Wang Kai's palm. Then, a giant claw covered in green scales extended from it and grabbed the swollen Huyin old man. Patter. Following the sudden pull of the green-scaled giant claw, the old man from the Huyin family penetrated through the large silver door. With a puff sound, the large silver door disappeared. The old man from the Huyin family fell to the ground. His face was lifeless. His swollen body had also returned to its original appearance. The others were also unable to react because what had just happened in an instant. It was as if a silver-white giant gate had appeared and disappeared in an instant. This was the only thing they could remember. Who the hell are you? How could you stop the old man from self-destructing? Even a sage ruler would find it difficult to do that. The old man from the Huyin family came back to his senses. He looked at Wang Kai with a terrified expression and shouted. He couldn't believe that the old man from the Huyin family, who was about to self-destruct, had returned to his original appearance before the explosion. It was untraceable and unstoppable. Hao Run and the others were also dumbfounded. Every one of them was prepared to escape. Up until now, they were either bent over, lying on the ground, or even opening the door. They still maintained their posture. However, only Gu Bingming's expression was extremely calm. She had her hands behind her back and didn't make any movements. At this moment, she was also looking at Wang Kai in astonishment. Although the scene just now had only happened for an instant, she, who wasn't afraid of self-destructing, had seen it clearly. If the sage rulers weren't in a state of panic, they would naturally be able to see it. Die! Bang! Crack! Wang Kai suddenly lifted his foot and released all of his green battle chi. He immediately stepped on the head of the old man from the Huyin family, causing his head to explode. Congratulations to the host for successfully killing a 9th grade sage. You've gained 60,000 experience. Congratulations to the host for successfully breaking through to the 4th stage Saint Realm. Upon hearing the notification, Wang Kai secretly heaved a sigh of relief. He was a 9th grade saint and had also activated his bloodline power. He was at least a 6th grade saint. Even if he was a 3rd grade saint previously and had an 8th grade bloodline, he was still 4 grades lower than him. His original intention was to kill him personally to gain experience. Who would have thought that he would suddenly self-destruct? If it weren't for a martial skill like the Gate of Time, even if he didn't die, he would have lost a layer of skin. What were you all looking at just now? Do you want to wait for him to self-destruct again? Su Xie snorted in displeasure. His back was drenched in cold sweat. If he were to face an enemy in the future, he would have to be extremely careful. If such a situation were to occur again, wouldn't he be doomed? Your Highness, please forgive us. It was our negligence. We will never let something like this happen again. The 10 Saint Realm experts all bowed and begged for forgiveness and shame. The 8 Saint Kings were even more ashamed. They were Saint Kings, but they were almost killed by a saint. If such a thing were to spread, they would definitely be laughed at. All right, don't do it again. Bin Shao is not a cat. He doesn't have that many lives for you to kill. Wang Kai's face darkened, and he was rather speechless. After all, he had to rely on himself for everything. Even if there were powerful warriors protecting him, he couldn't let his guard down. All of you, go and reflect on yourselves. Haoren waved his hand and said. The 10 Saint Realm experts felt as if they had been pardoned. They were afraid that Wang Kai would punish them, so they immediately scattered like birds and beasts. Wang Kai immediately raised his eyebrows when he saw this. He glanced at Hao Run with a rather playful expression and couldn't help but laugh playfully. You're quite good at being a person. Hee, you're too kind. It's all thanks to your Highness cultivation. Hao Ren's eyes flashed brightly as he said, with an extremely respectful expression. Cultivation, your ass. Why don't you clean up this place? Wang Kai curled his lips. He was really frightened. He immediately put his hands behind his back and left with lingering fear. Gu Bingning's eyes flickered when she saw this, and she followed closely behind. Fortunately, I have the Gate of Time, which allows me to freely control time. Otherwise, Bin Xiao's life would be in danger. Wang Kai shook his head and sighed his heart. At the same time, Gu Bingning quietly followed behind Wang Kai. She didn't say a word and only looked at Wang Kai with a probing gaze. Feeling the burning gaze, Wang Kai's brows suddenly twitched. He suddenly stopped and turned around. The distance between him and Gu Bingning's pretty face was less than a finger. Smelling the faint fragrance, he couldn't help but feel comfortable. Ah! Gu Bingning's beautiful eyes widened as she exclaimed and hurriedly took a few steps back. Her pretty face couldn't help but blush slightly. Her eyes were filled with surprise as she said, "Your Highness, my daughter is here for the 9 Revolutions Soul Return Pill." 9 Revolutions Soul Return Pill? Wang Kai's expression froze when he heard this, and he immediately understood. He couldn't help but smile in surprise. If that's the case, why did you come with Hu Yin outing? Could it be that you want to see which one is suitable for you to attack? He definitely didn't expect this girl to be in cahoots with Bai He. No, Your Highness misunderstood. My daughter is in the Spirit State's Array region. After receiving Bai He's message, I rushed to the Spirit State. When I passed by the Sun Moon Island, I met Hu Yin outing, so we came together. Gu Bingning's expression didn't change as she smiled. She was quite good at pretending. If she didn't want to use Hu Yin outing, why would she team up with Hu Yin outing as a direct descendant of the Spirit State's #1 family with such a different temperament? Haha, don't tell me there are no spatial arrays in the Spirit State? Wang Kai's expression was one of disdain as he laughed. It was as if he was saying that she was a direct descendant of the #1 family of array cultivators. Gu Bingning's expression was still calm when she heard this. She lightly nodded and smiled. That's right, there are spatial arrays in the Spirit State. However, there are no interconnected arrays in the 6 continents and 1 island. This is a taboo. Taboo? Wang Kai's eyes narrowed. He couldn't be bothered with this. He waved his hand and said, "Okay, I'll take it that you met Hu Yin outing by chance. Tell me, where is the 9 Transformations Life Return Elixir?" It's far away in the Sun Moon Islands Tool region. The exact location can only be revealed when Your Highness goes there. Gu Bingning lightly smiled. His guard was quite strong. The Sun Moon Island? No problem, Bin Xiao will go there. However, now is not the time. There's still things to take care of. Wang Kai lightly nodded and smiled. Gu Bingning's eyes flashed when she heard this. She lightly laughed. Your Highness, are you going to fight for the Dragon Mountain ruins during the monster conference? Huh. Why would Bin Xiao care about those trashy ruins? You might not know this, but before this, the pantheon of monsters and the 4 big families of the Wu State have repeatedly begged Bin Xiao to go. However, Bin Xiao really didn't care. Wang Kai's expression was calm as he smiled. Congratulations to the host for successfully bragging. You have received 10,000 experience and 10 bragging points. Hearing this, Gu Bingning's pretty face instantly froze. Her beautiful eyes widened as she stared at Wang Kai. She was getting more and more curious about him. It was one thing for the pantheon of monsters to invite you, but you just killed a direct descendant of the Zhou family and the Zhang family. Why would they come and beg you? His face didn't turn red and his heart didn't skip a beat. This really surprised Gu Bingning. Chapter 205. Oh, that's a pity. If Crown Prince Wang can go, we can take care of each other. Gu Bingning laughed softly. Take care of each other? Wang Kai raised his eyebrows and looked at her in surprise. He asked in confusion, can you go to the Dragon Mountain ruins as well? Shouldn't it be only the pantheon of monsters and the 4 great families of the Wu State fighting for it? Could the Spirit State be involved as well? Crown Prince Wang, don't forget the path that my daughter cultivates. No matter which side wins, the Gu family will enter the Dragon Mountain ruins. Gu Bingning smiled. Array cultivator. There were 2 major cultivators in the Spirit State. One was an array cultivator, and the other was a talisman cultivator. Since Gu Bingning was so confident that she could enter the ruins, it meant that there must be an array formation in the ruins. Only then would she come in handy. I didn't expect array cultivators to be so powerful. If I have the chance in the future, I must cultivate it. Wang Kaisin thought to himself. He immediately nodded and said with a smile, "As for the Tao of arrays, I did some research when I was a child. I can easily break an ordinary Saint Grade array. Congratulations to the host for successfully bragging. You have received 10,000 experience points and 10 bragging points." Gu Bingning's eyes flashed with surprise. Although she didn't know if he was telling the truth, she still said with a smile, "Crown Prince Wang is really a monster. Not only is your martial arts cultivation superior to the young Supremes, your alchemy skills are also extraordinary. I didn't expect you to be so proficient in array formations." Haha, that's nothing. Bin Xiao is a person who doesn't care about worldly affairs. He likes to live a life of being aloof from worldly affairs and doesn't care about fame and fortune. However, there are always ignorant idiots who come looking for trouble. That's why I accidentally showed off my skills. I didn't expect it to attract so many people's attention. Sigh, how sad. Wang Kai shook his head and sighed. Congratulations to the host for successfully bragging. You have received 10,000 experience points and 10 bragging points. Gu Bingning's pretty face stiffened as she listened. Only now did she understand that Wang Kai was the kind of person who loved to brag and was extremely skilled in martial arts. She quickly changed the topic and said, "When this little girl first met Crown Prince Wang, I noticed that Crown Prince Wang was surrounded by the fragrance of pills. Were you refining pills just now? Alchemy?" Wang Kai raised his eyebrows upon hearing this. He immediately flipped his hand and took out a few Saint-level heaven-grade medicinal pills. With a flick of his finger, he sent them into his mouth. A crunching sound was heard as he chewed all of them. Soon after, he spat them out and faintly said, "Yes, I have indeed refined a cauldron of Saint-level heaven-grade medicinal pills. However, they're just things that Bin Xiao uses to rinse his mouth. Congratulations to the host for successfully bragging. You have received 10,000 experience points and 10 bragging points. Congratulations to the host for successfully breaking through to the 5th stage Saint Realm. Mouthwash. Saint level heaven grade." Gu Bingning's beautiful eyes suddenly widened. Her slender, jade-like hands covered her slightly opened red lips as she looked at Wang Kai in disbelief. She did not want to believe that what she had just seen was real. However, the medicinal pill that Wang Kai had just swallowed and spat out was definitely at the saint level. Although it was just a quick glance, she could see the 4 golden stripes on the medicinal pill. It must be a true saint-level heaven-grade medicinal pill. However, Wang Kai had used it to rinse his mouth. Such a thing was really hard for Gu Bingning to accept. Saint-level medicinal pills were treasures even for the number 1 family of array cultivators, let alone a heaven-grade medicinal pill. "Miss Gu, what's wrong with you? Why is your face so ugly? Could it be that you are injured?" Wang Kai suddenly raised his eyebrows. Looking at Gu Bingning's pretty face, he asked with a smile, even though he already knew the answer. At this moment, Gu Bingning gritted her teeth and wiped away her shock. Instead, she was very angry. She gritted her teeth and said, "Royal Highness Wang, do you know that your actions are really infuriating?" Even as a direct descendant of a number 1 family of array cultivators in the spiritual state, it was extremely difficult for Gu Bingning to obtain a saint-level medicinal pill. It would be good if she could only get one a year. However, just now, in front of her eyes, several saint-level medicinal pills were given out by Wang Kai and spat out just like that. This was intolerable. Hearing this, Wang Kai's expression was extremely calm. He secretly thought that Bin Xiao had made the medicinal pill to show off and pick up girls. As for other people's feelings, why should he care? It would be better to say that others would be more jealous, and he would be happier. Miss Gu, you might have remembered something wrong. Bin Xiao has already said very clearly that he made this medicinal pill to rinse his mouth. Yes, when he has free time, he can treat it as a candy to taste. At the very least, he can use it to grind his teeth. There's no need to worry about it. Wang Kai smiled faintly. Congratulations to the host for successfully bragging. You have received 10,000 experience points and 10 bragging points. Gu Bingning's beautiful eyes suddenly widened as she looked at Wang Kai angrily. She bit her red lips so hard that it left a mark. Only to hear her say in a low voice, "Royal Highness Wang, can you give her mouth-rinsing medicinal pill to my daughter?" "Oh, does Miss Gu also want to rinse her mouth?" "No problem. Why would I need to give it to you?" "So what if Ben Xiao gives you 100 pills?" Wang Kai raised his eyebrows and smiled casually. "Rinse your mouth?" "Only you would rinse your mouth." Then, under Gu Bingning's incredulous gaze, 100 medicinal pills emitting a rich medicinal aroma floated in front of her. The medicinal aroma that gathered together, along with the incomparably pure spiritual energy of heaven and earth, instantly caused the air in the entire space to become refreshed. Could this be the energy gathering pill? The surrounding spiritual energy of heaven and earth actually gathered towards the medicinal pills on its own. Gu Bingning exclaimed with her beautiful eyes wide open. Hearing this, Wang Kai paused for a moment and couldn't help but take a closer look. Indeed, after the medicinal pills gathered together, the surrounding spiritual energy of heaven and earth gathered and merged into the medicinal pills. Miss Gu, is indeed a direct descendant of the spiritual state's #1 family of array cultivators. You even know the ancient recipe for the energy gathering pill. Actually, this isn't much. This recipe is only used by Ben Xiao's family to make mouth-rinsing medicinal pills. Yes, when he has free time, he will use this recipe as a foundation. Wang Kai smiled faintly. Congratulations to the host for successfully bragging. You have received 10,000 experience points and 10 bragging points. Whoosh! Hearing this, Gu Bingning's pretty face stiffened. She angrily glared at Wang Kai before waving her jade-like hand and putting away the 100 medicinal pills. Then, she took out a black scroll and snorted, still somewhat emotionally unstable. "I don't want to take advantage of you. This is the recipe for the 9 Revolutions Soul Return Pill. If Crown Prince Wang can really make it, I hope you can give me a few pills." The recipe for the 9 Revolutions Soul Return Pill. Before Wang Kai could receive the pill formula, Gu Bingning had already turned around and left. Halfway through, she did not forget to turn around and viciously glare at Wang Kai. She really couldn't stand Wang Kai's reckless waste of natural resources. Staying even a moment longer was torture for her. Clatter! Wang Kai held the recipe in his hand and slightly squinted his eyes. With an indescribable smile, he said, "You are a smart girl, but when Ben Xiao makes the 9 Revolutions Soul Return Pill, it won't be so easy for you to get it, hee. Kid, hurry up and find a place. Lord Cat is going to undergo the divine tribulation." Within the Sky Tower, Lord Cat's voice suddenly rang out, causing Wang Kai's expression to freeze. "Please recommend me. Thank you very much." Chapter 206. Outside Trove of Treasures City, a giant golden pagoda was suspended in midair. Above it, dark clouds covered the sky and lightning flashed. It seemed to be gathering power for a strike. Such a commotion naturally attracted the attention of many cultivators in the city. Even the demon clan outside Trove of Treasures City quickly approached the area and hid in the dense forest to observe. Who does that golden pagoda belong to? It actually attracted a heavenly tribulation. If it can survive the tribulation, it will definitely become a divine artifact. There are very few divine artifacts in the 6 states and 1 island. They are all in the hands of the leaders of the top forces. Other than that, the only person who has a divine artifact is Sword St. Ching Feng. That's right. I wonder who the pagoda belongs to. Is there going to be another independent cultivator like Sword St. Ching Feng in the 6 states and 1 island? Or is there going to be another top aristocratic family? We can't make a conclusion yet. The tribulation sign has appeared, but the tribulation has yet to appear. We don't know if the pagoda can survive the tribulation. Everyone nodded secretly when they heard that. They stared at the heaven-reaching pagoda fervently. They all wanted to snatch it, but they didn't dare to reveal it for the time being. After all, they didn't know who the pagoda's owner was or how powerful he was. They also didn't know if the pagoda could survive the tribulation. Among the group of demons, they were secretly discussing this through voice transmission. Some of the top powers of the demon clan even had fierce red eyes. This pagoda definitely belongs to the leader of the Fire Phoenix clan, one of the 5 Phoenix clans in the pantheon of demons. I can't be wrong. It was stolen a few decades ago. I didn't expect it to appear here today. We have to inform the leader of the Fire Phoenix clan as soon as possible. When the time comes, we can also obtain the opportunity to enter the pantheon of demons. That's right. Leave a few divine demons here to keep an eye on it. We have to hurry to the north region and report this to the leader of the Fire Phoenix clan. Swoosh, swoosh, swoosh. Instantly, the top powers of the demon clan split up and rushed away excitedly. They all wanted to inform the leader of the Fire Phoenix clan as soon as possible. As for the sacred demons who had stayed behind to keep watch, they were also very excited. If they could capture the owner of the pagoda before the Fire Phoenix clan leader arrived, they would definitely be rewarded handsomely when the Fire Phoenix clan leader arrived. As for the experts of the demon clan who wanted to take the Tower of Babel for themselves, not a single one of them did so, because they knew very well that the Tower of Babel belonged to the patriarch of the Fiery Phoenix clan. Anyone who tried to take it for themselves would definitely die. Boy, I'm going to use the divine tribulation to restore the supreme tower to the level of a divine artifact. Before that, I'd like to warn you that if you don't want to become the target of thousands of demons, you'd better not take the supreme tower away. Cat transmitted his voice to Su Quebec Wong Kai, who was standing on the city wall, raised his eyebrows when he heard Cat's transmission. He smiled calmly and said, "Big dumb cat, since you know that there will be trouble if the supreme tower is exposed, why did you choose to undergo the divine tribulation here? Boy, I don't know what kind of body constitution you have. You can actually become a divine sage without going through the divine tribulation. However, it is extremely difficult for ordinary people to suppress the divine tribulation. Once you suppress it, the divine tribulation will be even more ferocious. I don't have the confidence to survive it." Cat narrowed his eyes and smiled. "I see." Wong Kai narrowed his eyes when he heard Cat's words. He placed his hands behind his back and smiled calmly. "Ben Shao is not boasting, but even if the divine tribulation descends, I can still bathe in it and walk around as if it is my own backyard. Congratulations to the host for successfully boasting. You have received 10,000 experience and 10 bragging points." Inside the Supreme Tower, Cat's mouth twitched and his eyes squinted. He was speechless and said, "Boy, although you like to boast, Cat doesn't hate it. Let's hope to meet again in the future. Quickly break the bloodline contract. If there is a powerful demon clan expert coming later, he will definitely discover you. Meet again in the future?" Wong Kai raised his brow when he heard this and snorted with disdain. He waved his arms and laughed loudly. "This heaven tower belongs to this prince. This prince thanks all of you for coming to congratulate this prince on obtaining a sane artifact." Swoosh! As soon as he said that, the faces of many cultivators suddenly changed. Even the demon clan expert in the distance turned pale at this moment. If it was someone else, it would be fine. However, it had to be Wong Kai, the prince of the Trove of Treasures Pavilion. "Brat, you're being too impulsive. Aren't you afraid of dying? Even if these experts don't dare to do anything to you, the pantheon of demons won't tolerate it." Cat squinted his eyes and said seriously. Although he didn't know what Wong Kai was planning, he felt a warm current in his heart. Daring to say that the Supreme Tower belonged to him would inevitably lead to disaster. However, even so, Wong Kai still said it without hesitation. Wong Kai smiled faintly and said casually, "Big stupid cat, Ben Shao can ignore the safety of all living beings. After all, their lives have nothing to do with him. However, you are Ben Shao's contract partner. If you ignore it, how can Ben Shao call himself the god of bragging? How can he stand at the top of this world in the future?" When the time comes, won't he become a treacherous and despicable person? If you dare to harm Ben Xiao's reputation in the future, Ben Xiao will never forgive you. Whoosh! As his voice fell, Cat Lord's expression had already become somewhat sluggish. He never would have thought that the brat from Fanzhou, who only knew how to brag all the time, would actually have such a loyal and righteous side. Hee hee, you bastard. Even Cat was touched by you. Even if Cat doesn't harm your reputation, I'm afraid it won't be good either, braggart? Ha ha ha. Cat suddenly laughed loudly. He immediately activated the Supreme Tower and broke through the thunderclouds. Rumble, rumble. A path was opened in the thunderclouds by the Supreme Tower. At the two ends of the path, two angry ghosts with axes in their hands suddenly appeared. It was a terrifying green ghost face. Its face was the size of a basin, and its blood-red eyes were glaring angrily. For fangs protruded from the corners of its mouth, and its entire body was covered with green scales. Its body was tall and seemed extraordinarily powerful. It was brandishing a large axe and chopping down on the Tower of Babel. Heavens! That's the ghost god slaying Dao Trial. It's the ghost god slaying Dao Trial. How is this possible? Shouldn't only cultivators experience this trial? It shouldn't happen when a weapon becomes a saint. Could it be that the weapon spirit in the Golden Tower is trying to break through the trial? Or could it be that there are other cultivators in the tower? Are they trying to use the tower to avoid the trial? The ghost god slaying Dao trial is a divine trial that only appeared in the ancient times. Only cultivators with heaven-defying talents would experience this trial. Who is going through the trial in the tower? The ghost god slaying Dao trial? Wang Kai's eyes narrowed slightly when he heard this, and he couldn't help but look a little worried. Although many of the masters present were nothing, the ancient divine tribulation mentioned made him break out in a cold sweat. Please recommend me. Thank you. Chapter 207. Clang, bang, bang, bang. With an earth-shattering explosion, the two demonic gods brandished their giant axes and hacked at the Tower of Babel. However, what happened next shocked everyone. The Skirich Tower, which should have been shattered, did not even have a single crack on it. Instead, the two demon deities were forced to take a few steps back. Gosh, how is this possible? That's an ancient divine tribulation. This tower can actually withstand the demon deity's Tao Crusher. Shouldn't it be destroyed and rebuilt? Who's in the tower? Everyone's expression changed drastically. They were unwilling to believe what had just happened. Logically speaking, no matter how powerful one was, one would be damaged during the divine tribulation. No matter how tough the Skirich Tower was, it should have been cracked by the demon deities. However, it was unscathed. It's definitely not the Golden Tower undergoing the divine tribulation. Someone else is in the tower undergoing the divine tribulation. That's right. Moreover, the grade of this tower is definitely at the divine grade. Otherwise, it would not be able to withstand the demon deity's Tao Crusher. Thinking of this, everyone looked at Wang Kai suspiciously. Even if he was the emperor of the Endless Treasures Pavilion, it was impossible for him to have a divine weapon. In the entire Endless Treasures Pavilion, the only person who had a divine weapon was the Empress of Fan Province. Could it be that he was deliberately mystifying things? Could it be that he wanted to use his status as the emperor of the Endless Treasures Pavilion to take the tower for himself? Wang Kai narrowed his eyes at this moment. When he saw the unfriendly gazes of the crowd, he immediately understood. He could not help but curl his lips and sneered. Are you all idiots? That tower is obviously an emperor weapon. Can't you feel its aura? Swoosh. As soon as these words came out, everyone was stunned. They looked carefully and found that the aura of the Skirich Tower was indeed at the level of an emperor weapon. For a moment, everyone felt that it was extremely strange. How could an emperor weapon be unscathed after the ancient divine tribulation? Wang Kai was also puzzled. He could not help but ask through voice transmission. Big stupid cat, are you okay? The Sky Split Tower should be able to protect you from the tribulation, right? Little cough cough boy, Lord Cat is fine for the time being. Don't underestimate the sky-reaching tower. Although it has temporarily recovered to the level of an emperor weapon, its hardness is among the best among sacred weapons. It won't be difficult for it to withstand the divine tribulation. Lord Cat's tone was a little chaotic. Hearing this, Wang Kai's brows furrowed tightly. Although Cat Grandpa spoke casually, it seemed that things were not as simple as he had said. Little did he know that even though the Tower of Babel had blocked the attack of the demon god, the force of the tremors was enough to make Lord Cat suffer. Ding-dang, ding-dang. Then, under the astonished gazes of the crowd, the two demon gods kept swinging their giant axes of the Tower of Babel. However, the Tower of Babel was still intact despite the continuous buzzing sounds. Could it be that this pagoda is a saint artifact that has dropped a grade? As soon as these words were spoken, everyone suddenly came to a realization. Immediately, all of them glanced at Wang Kai with an unfriendly gaze. Crown Prince Wang, even if you're the Crown Prince of the Trove of Treasures building, you can't take this treasure for yourself, right? Yes, the Trove of Treasures building is powerful, but if Crown Prince Wang wants to take this treasure for himself, he will have to pay a price. In an instant, everyone spoke sarcastically. The meaning of their words was very obvious. Even if he couldn't defeat the Trove of Treasures building, everyone believed that Wang Kai wouldn't do something that would anger the crowd. If he wanted to take the Tower of Babel for himself, he naturally had to give some benefits to everyone present. Wang Kai snorted with disdain. With his hand behind his back, he smiled faintly and said, "This pagoda is Ben Shao's treasure. Why should I discuss it with you?" Crown Prince Wang, don't go too far. Everyone stared coldly at Wang Kai. The threat in their eyes was self-evident. Even if I go too far, what can you do? Not to mention that you are just ants in the Saint Realm and the Emperor Realm. Even if an Emperor in the Saint Realm were here, he would have to negotiate with Ben Shao. Wang Kai smiled faintly. Congratulations to the host for successfully bragging. You have gained 10,000 experience and 10 bragging points. Everyone's faces turned ugly when they heard this. Their eyes were filled with anger and murderous intent. However, Wang Kai was the crown prince of the Trove of Treasures building. If he didn't give them any benefits, no one dared to do anything to him. Don't think that you can make Ben Shao give in just because you have more people. Even if you are angry, so what? If you don't know what's good for you, believe it or not, Ben Shao will order all of you to be expelled from the Trove of Treasures building. I'm sure many Demon Clan experts will drool, right? Wang Kai narrowed his eyes and sneered. Whoosh! As soon as these words came out, everyone's faces changed. They never thought that Wang Kai would disregard their dignity like this. He would rather anger them than give them any benefits. This Tower of Babel is my treasure. Whoosh! Suddenly, clouds of fire appeared in the distant sky. Among them, a phoenix spread its wings and flew over. Its crimson-red feathers and its body that blotted out the sun were so intimidating that the expressions of the crowd changed drastically. God! It's the Fire Phoenix clan. He just called himself the clan leader. Could it be that the Fire Phoenix clan leader has come personally? That's an Emperor Realm expert among the saints. The 5 Phoenix clans are the Phoenix, Swan-Ni, Wan, Swan-Ni, and Swan clans. Of all the clans, the strongest Fire Phoenix clan has come, and the clan leader has come personally. Hearing everyone's discussion, Wang Kai's eyes suddenly narrowed. He stared coldly at the Fire Phoenix circling in the sky and quickly asked, "Big stupid cat, the Tower of Babel couldn't have been taken from the Fire Phoenix, right?" "That's right. Cough, cough. I didn't expect them to come so quickly. There's still one more axe. When the last axe falls, even if I am still not a match for the old Fire Phoenix, I will be able to escape from him," Cat Lord said weakly. Ding-dang, ding-dang. However, at this moment, the 2 demon gods had already swung their axes 8 times. Demon Cat Emperor, when you stole the Tower of Babel from me back then, I couldn't do anything about your illusion technique. I didn't expect you to become the weapon spirit of the Tower of Babel. This is good too. Is this what the Buddhists call karma? Poo-pu-pu. Sizzle, sizzle, sizzle. The Fire Phoenix spread its wings and swooped down from the sky. It opened its flaming beak and wanted to take the Tower of Babel with its mouth. Ding-dang. However, at this moment, the last axe fell. The dark clouds and lightning in the sky instantly disappeared. Whoosh! The Tower of Babel immediately shrank and returned to the size of an earring. Inside, Cat Lord stroked his long whiskers and smiled brightly. Feng Tiannan, when I was at the Emperor Realm, you couldn't do anything to me. Now that I am at the Saint Realm, what do you think you can do to me? Bastard. A mere demon cat who is cultivated to the Emperor Realm dares to make an enemy out of the noble Fire Phoenix clan. Today, I will capture you and imprison you in the Tower of Babel forever. The Fire Phoenix berated sternly and immediately bit the Tower of Babel in its mouth. Chapter 208. It's useless. Even if you're an emperor among saints, you're still dreaming if you want to capture Lord Cat. 3,000 illusions, great illusions, illusory, sea and demon sky. Whoosh! Suddenly, the Fire Phoenix's body stiffened in the air. Its eyes, which were burning with flames, were devoid of any spirit. Even though the heaven-reaching tower flew out of its mouth, it did not show any intention of stopping it. Heavens! Is the demon cat emperor the illusion emperor of the demon continent? It must be him. The illusion emperor is the only one who can defeat an emperor among saints, even though he's not a saint emperor. I didn't expect to see the Fire Phoenix clan leader today. Even the illusion emperor, who has disappeared for decades, has appeared. Don't you understand? The one hiding in the Tower of Babel is the illusion emperor himself. Everyone exclaimed. Whether it was the Fire Phoenix clan leader or the illusion emperor, they were both famous experts in the demon continent and the 6 prefectures in one island. In terms of fame, the illusion emperor was even more famous than the Fire Phoenix. After all, the illusion emperor could defeat an emperor among saints when he was in the Emperor Realm. Boy, this great illusions can only last for 100 breaths. Let's meet on Black Tortoise Mountain. Whoosh! Lord Cat hurriedly transmitted his voice and urged the Tower of Babel to fly away. However, there was a sudden change. Green clouds appeared in the sky, accompanied by green flames. A green phoenix appeared in an instant. It was a phoenix covered in green flames. When it spread its wings, the flames disappeared and were replaced by green feathers. It looked dazzling and beautiful. Green phoenix. It's actually a green phoenix. It's also one of the 5 phoenix clans, the Green Phoenix clan. Whoosh! Clang! Rumble! The blue one opened its mouth and spat out a blue flame. It directly hit the heaven-reaching pagoda that was about to leave. The heaven-reaching pagoda was sent flying back and slammed into the ground like a meteor. A bottomless pit appeared in the ground. In an instant, smoke and dust rose and green flames filled the air. Cough, cough. Qing Wan, Huafeng, I didn't expect you, Feng Tiannan, to be so shameless. A dignified emperor among saints would also ask your wife to come and help. Inside the Tong Tian Tower, Lord Cat was shaken to the point where he spat out blood. His fur was stained with blood as he curled up on the ground, looking extremely weak. Oof. A mere cat demon dares to make an enemy out of the Phoenix clan. Qing is also a member of the Phoenix clan, so it's only right for her to punish you. This is what you deserve. At this moment, the Fire Phoenix had also recovered. The blue wand came to his side and gently nudged his neck with its head. Tiannan, since the matter has been settled, quickly bring the Tower of Babel back. This is the city of the trove of treasures. According to the rules, we cannot offend too much, Qing Wan said indifferently. Feng Tiannan gently nodded his head when he heard this. He spread out his flame wings and swooped down, intending to take away the heaven-reaching tower. Wait, do you think you can take away Bencheo's things as you please? Whoosh! Wang Kai stepped down from the city wall and instantly arrived in front of the heaven-reaching tower. With a flip of his hand, he took the heaven-reaching tower into his palm. Looking up at the huge fire phoenix in front of him, Wang Kai faintly smiled and said, "Fire Phoenix clan leader, this heaven-reaching tower belongs to Ben Shao. I'm afraid it's not good to snatch it like this, right?" As soon as these words came out, it immediately caused everyone to be extremely shocked. Even if he was the emperor of the Trove of Treasures, he shouldn't speak to an emperor of the Saint Realm like this, right? That was an expert on the same level as the Empress of Fan Province. What was Wang Kai thinking? Could it be that he had gone crazy? "Who are you?" Whoosh! The fire phoenix's scarlet flames suddenly rose. When the flames dissipated, a handsome middle-aged man in a purple robe appeared. Immediately after, the Qing Yuan in the sky also turned into a human body. A green dress covered her body. Although she was also middle-aged, her appearance was extremely beautiful, and she had a mature and charming appearance. The Emperor of the Trove of Treasures, Wang Kai. Wang Kai faintly smiled and said, "The Emperor of the Trove of Treasures." Feng Tiannan and Qing were startled when they heard this. They looked at each other and frowned slightly. "The Jade Phoenix token that I gave to the immortal goddess by Yin Yin was snatched by you?" Feng Tiannan asked in surprise. Feng Tiannan and Qing didn't expect that Wang Kai was actually so young. Not only did he control the dustless fire, but he was also the Emperor of the Trove of Treasures. At the side, Qing Er's eyes flickered. Her red lips slightly parted as she said with a smile, "I've been wondering whether the Emperor of the Trove of Treasures who killed many young sovereigns a few days ago in the Trove of Treasures was the Wang Kai who suppressed by Yin Yin with a strange fire. Now it seems that you too should be the same person." Whoosh! Qing waved her hand, and a token flew out from Wang Kai's space ring and landed in her palm. Wang Kai's face immediately darkened when he saw this. The token that he had originally planned had been auctioned off by his clone. This way, he could participate in the Myriad Demon Conference. But now, his plans often couldn't keep up with the changes. In front of Saint Emperor, nothing could be hidden. "Wang Kai, I don't care whether you're the Emperor of the Trove of Treasures or not, but this sky-split tower belongs to me. It was stolen by the Illusion Emperor back then, so it's only right that I take it back. Hand it over." Feng Tiannan said indifferently. Qing also said with a smile at this time, "As for the immortal goddess by Yin Yin, I can promise not to argue with you. If Emperor Wang wants this token, you can take it. How can I not agree to fight for my Phoenix clan?" Whoosh! Pada! Wang Kai took the token with a flip of his hand and glared at her with a dark face. She had taken the token just now so that he wouldn't be able to explain himself. He didn't expect that the Phoenix clan's Qing Yuan was also not a bird to be trifled with. Isn't it just a saint artifact? Ben Shao has always treated it as a toy. If you want it, Ben Shao can give you 10. But the Sky-Split Tower is already connected to Ben Shao's life in the Fan Prefecture, so it's impossible for me to return it. Wang Kai snorted with disdain. Congratulations to the host for successfully bragging. You've received 10,000 experience and 10 bragging points. A saint artifact was treated as a toy. He could give 10 as a gift. These words immediately shocked Feng Tiannan and Qing to the point that their expressions were stunned. Even the numerous experts on the city wall were extremely stunned at this moment. Saint artifacts were limited in the 6 prefectures and 1 island. They could be counted with 2 hands. He actually said that a saint artifact was a toy. "Emperor Wang, I don't have time to joke with you. You should know very well that if you weren't the Emperor of the Endless Treasures Pavilion, I would have already killed you. Quickly hand over the Sky-Split Tower. Otherwise, don't blame me for not giving face to Emperor Fan." Feng Tiannan said coldly. Wang Kai raised his eyebrows when he heard this. He shrugged his shoulders with an indifferent expression and said with a smile, "The 2 clan heads have misunderstood. Ben Shao is not joking with you. If you agree, Ben Shao can take out 10 saint artifacts to exchange with you. What do you think?" Chapter 209. He actually wanted to exchange saint artifacts. Feng Tiannan and Qing looked at each other with surprise in their eyes. Even the Emperor of the Endless Treasures Pavilion couldn't possibly take out 10 Saint artifacts, right? After all, the number of Saint artifacts in the 6 prefectures and 1 island was extremely limited. Only the leader of a peak force could have one. Tianan, why don't we see if he can really take out 10 Saint artifacts? If he can, we might as well temporarily exchange with him. Although we can't do anything to him in the open, he's just a saint in the dark. He's nothing to worry about. Ching, Er's eyes flashed as she secretly transmitted her voice with a smile. Feng Tianan nodded slightly when he heard this. He turned to look at Wang Kai indifferently and nodded with a smile. Since Emperor Wang has such courage, I naturally want to see it. If you could take out 10 Saint artifacts, I'll exchange with you. At the same time, many cultivators also looked at Wang Kai in surprise. However, most of them thought that he was bragging. If it was so easy to take out 10 Saint artifacts, then wouldn't everyone in the 6 prefectures and 1 island have one? However, since he dared to say such words in front of the 2 Phoenix clan leaders, everyone was more surprised about how he would end the situation. Cough, cough. Boy, could it be that you can turn anything into a Saint artifact with a single hand? Inside the heaven-reaching tower, Lord Cat transmitted his voice weakly. Wang Kai slightly narrowed his eyes when he heard this, but he didn't answer. In front of a Saint Emperor, any voice transmission couldn't escape. Lord Cat had the ability to make a Saint Emperor helpless, but he didn't have the confidence to do so. Then, under the expectant gaze of everyone, Wang Kai flipped his hand and was about to take out a quasi-emperor artifact. However, something unexpected happened. Roar, 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 roar. A thunderous roar exploded in the sky, causing everyone to be startled. They quickly raised their heads to look at the sky. However, when they saw the demonic beast in the sky, everyone's expression changed greatly. Even the 2 Phoenix clan leaders had fear in their eyes at this moment. Its body was as big as an ox, with a pair of wings on its back, a horn on its head, a tiger's face, and 4 fangs piercing through the corners of its mouth. Its face was fierce, and its golden eyes were as big as copper bells. Its entire body was black with a few strands of red hair running through it. Its 2 black wings were burning with black flames. Oh my God, isn't that Xiongqi, one of the 4 ferocious beasts? Oh no, no. In an instant, many cultivators immediately scattered like birds and beasts. No one dared to watch from afar. They were so scared that their faces turned pale, and they ran away unsteadily. At this moment, the numerous demonic beasts within the dense forest were so frightened that they crouched on the ground. Their heads were deeply lowered, and their bodies trembled as they retreated bit by bit. During this period of time, they did not dare to raise their heads and did not even dare to make the slightest sound. Xiongqi, 4 ferocious beasts, could be the so-called Hundun, Tao Tai Tao Wu, and Xiongqi. Wang Kai's pupils suddenly shrank. 4 spiritual beasts, 4 divine beasts, and 4 ferocious beasts. Wang Kai had some understanding of them, but he never thought that he would actually see them today. Fierce beast Xiongqi, why have you come here? Feng Tianan frowned as he asked. His voice clearly lacked confidence. Qing who was at the side, was so scared that her pretty face turned pale. Her delicate body swayed as she hid behind Feng Tianan, and her jade-like hands tightly grabbed Feng Tianan's arm. Even a Saint Emperor would be so afraid in front of the fierce beast Xiongqi. Since you are from the Phoenix clan, you should belong to one of the 4 spiritual beasts. Why are you so afraid of him? It's simply too embarrassing, Wang Kai said with disdain. However, Feng Tianan and Qing held their breaths when they heard this. They hurriedly used their eyes to stop Wang Kai from talking nonsense. Prince Wang, don't say too much. Although we are from the Phoenix clan and are the descendants of the 4 spiritual beasts, the only one who can deal with Xiongqi is the ancestor of the 4 spiritual beasts, the Phoenix. Qing anxiously reminded through voice transmission. Wang Kai raised his eyebrows when he heard this. He did not expect that there was only one Phoenix that was known as one of the 4 spiritual beasts of heaven. The rest were just the descendants of the 4 spiritual beasts. Even a dignified Saint Emperor was scared to such an extent. Thinking of this, Wang Kai's eyes suddenly flashed. He immediately berated with a fierce face. Feng Tian, the Tong Tian Tower is yours, but Bin Shao wants it now. If you dare not give it to him, Bin Shao will slaughter your Fire Phoenix clan. He will skin all the red-feathered birds of your Fire Phoenix clan and pull out their tendons until they die. Congratulations to the host for successfully bragging. You have received 10,000 experience and 10 bragging points. As soon as these words were spoken, a blood-red color flashed across the eyes of Qiongqi in the sky. Although its face was still fierce and terrifying, there was an additional hint of admiration in its eyes. As the clan leaders of the 5 great Phoenix clans, how could they not know what Wang Kai was planning? But there was no way out now. Qiongqi had a very bad habit. It would often come to the battlefield and eat the side and the right, starting from the head. If the 4 spiritual beasts and the 4 spiritual beasts punished evil and promoted good, then the 4 ferocious beasts were the opposite, punishing good and promoting evil. As the clan leaders of the 5 great Phoenix clans, they naturally wouldn't pretend to be evil. After all, as the descendants of the 4 spiritual beasts, if they really did that, wouldn't they lose face for their ancestors? In the future, they would lose face in the entire demon continent. However, Wang Kai was not afraid. As long as there was a chance to deal with a strong enemy, he would definitely not let it go. As for his reputation, he could just go F***CK himself. In Wang Kai's opinion, rather than being oppressed by a Saint Emperor, it would be better to think of a way to deal with the other party. If he could kill the other party, it would naturally be for the best. Now, if you 2 red-feathered and green-feathered phoenixes lower your heads and apologize to Bin Shao and then end your lives, Bin Shao can promise that after this, he will only roast your heads and eat them. As for the other parts, if Bin Shao doesn't eat them, he will give them to other demonic beasts to taste. Wang Kai laughed viciously. Congratulations to the host for successfully bragging. You have received 10,000 experience and 10 bragging points. How ruthless! He wanted the dignified Phoenix clan leaders to lower their heads and admit their mistakes. Not only did he not spare their lives, but he even wanted to roast their heads and not let the other parts go. Wouldn't he die without a complete corpse? Although Feng Tian, Nan, and Qing clearly knew that Wang Kai was doing this to use Qiongqi to deal with them, they couldn't help but tremble at this moment. No matter what, since Wang Kai could say it, it proved that he would definitely do it if he had the chance. What a hateful and ruthless human. Human, you are very good. This divine beast will give you a Saint Emperor Black Tiger, demonic tooth. Swoosh! The ferocious beast, Qiongqi, spoke in human language with an extremely ear-piercing voice. As he raised his paw and swung it, a black beast tooth that was like a sharp blade flew down. Ha! Seeing this, Wang Kai raised his eyebrows and reached out to catch the black beast tooth. However, he found that the beast tooth was extremely heavy. It was at least a few thousand pounds and 2 feet long, like a long blade that had not been sharpened yet. Chapter 210. A Saint Emperor, Demon Tiger's Tooth. The Saint Realm was divided into 4 levels: Saint, Saint King, Saint Emperor, and finally Saint Emperor. The tooth of a Saint King Demon Tiger was definitely a good material for forging weapons. Even if it was sold, it could be sold for a sky-high price, right? As for using it as a weapon, Wang Kai didn't even think about it. After reaching the Saint Realm, he could turn anything into a saint weapon with a single hand. Why would he need to go through the trouble of refining a demon tiger's tooth into a weapon? What can a mere Saint Emperor Demon Tiger's tooth count as? But it's fine, I'll use it as a massage for Bin Shao for now, Wang Kai said with a disdainful smile. With a flip of his hand, he stored the tiger tooth into his space ring. Congratulations to host for successfully bragging. You've received 10,000 experience and 10 bragging points. Congratulations to host for successfully breaking through and reaching the 6th grade of the Saint Realm. However, These words caused Feng Tiannan and Qing Er's faces to stiffen. A Saint Emperor Demon Tiger was definitely the master of a second-rate force among humans. Even in the Demon Province, it was still the master of second-rate force. For example, the treasure-gathering pavilion, the 4 great clans of the martial province, and the myriad demon palace were all first-rate forces. To be able to become a first-rate force, they must have Saint Emperors. As for second-rate forces, Saint Emperors were the strongest. However, Wang Kai didn't care about a Saint Emperor Demon Tiger's tooth, which was hard for them to accept. On the other hand, the ferocious beast, Qiongqi, seemed to be very interested. It immediately bared its fangs and asked with a sinister smile, "Human, what do you think counts as a treasure?" Qiongqi could naturally tell that Wang Kai's cultivation wasn't high. After all, his age was there. If he was really higher than Feng Tiannan and the others, he wouldn't have threatened them with words. Since that was the case, it was extremely interesting that he didn't care about a Saint Emperor Demon Tiger's tooth. Wang Kai raised his eyebrows. With his hands behind his back, he smiled calmly and said, thinking back to when Ben Shao rode the Azure Dragon. He beat the white tiger with his left hand, fanned a vermilion bird with his right hand, and kicked the black tortoise until it cried for its father and mother. If we're talking about materials, their bones are still not bad. They barely qualify. Congratulations to the host for successfully bragging. You have received 10,000 experience points and 10 bragging points. Hiss. When these words were spoken, Feng Tiannan and Qing both deeply inhaled. Naturally, they wouldn't believe that he had done such a thing back then. However, he actually dared to say it out loud. Such courage was definitely not something an ordinary person would have. The ferocious beast, Qiongqi, naturally admired him even more, and he grinned as he praised, "Human, even though your cultivation level isn't high, your courage is great. You're a promising talent. Once this divine beast kills these 2 phoenixes, I'll give you their bones as a reward." Whoosh! Ayo! In an instant, the Qiongqi fierce beast swooped down from the sky and waved its dense black claws. Its movements were extremely simple as it slapped towards Feng Tiannan and Qing. However, even though its movements were so simple, its speed was terrifyingly fast. Before Feng Tiannan and Qing could defend themselves, they had already been slapped into the sky. As they tumbled, they were both beaten into their phoenix forms. "Let's go. The 2 of us aren't Qiongqi's match." Feng Tiannan screamed in shock. He swept up Qing and turned into 2 streaks of light, one red and one green, as they rushed towards the northern horizon. "Human, wait here for this divine beast." Whoosh! The ferocious beast, Qiongqi, said before flapping its black wings and soaring into the sky. In the blink of an eye, it disappeared. Seeing this, Wang Kai dryly swallowed a mouthful of saliva. It was indeed worthy of being one of the 4 great ferocious beasts to be able to cause a Saint Emperor to be helpless. "Kid, why are you still looking here foolishly? Don't tell me you really want to wait for that Qiongqi to return?" Cat Lord weakly shouted. Hearing this, Wang Kai's face instantly darkened. He fiercely shouted, "What does a mere Qiongqi count for? If it dares to act pretentious in front of Ben Shao, I'll beat it until it cries for its father and mother." Congratulations to the host for successfully bragging. You've received 10,000 experience points and 10 bragging points. However, although he said this, Wang Kai immediately stepped into the air and directly rushed towards the Endless Treasures Pavilion in the city. "Your Highness, I've already sent a message to the Empress." Just as he entered the Endless Treasures Pavilion, Hao Run and the 10 Saint Stage experts came to welcome him. Seeing that Wang Kai was fine, they all heaved a sigh of relief. Wang Kai's eyebrows immediately raised when he heard this. His expression was rather indifferent as he smiled and said, "Why inform her? A mere Phoenix clan leader and the ferocious beast, Qiongqi, have already been beaten away by Ben Shao. Sigh, being invincible is really lonely." Congratulations to the host for successfully bragging. You've received 10,000 experience points and 10 bragging points. They've all been beaten away? Hao Ren and the others were all stunned when they heard this. They had no choice but to not go out just now. After all, even if they went out, there was no doubt that they would be courting death. It would be better to inform the Empress of Fan State as soon as possible. However, they had already notified the Empress, and the enemy had actually been beaten away. Cough, cough. I wonder when my good sworn sister will arrive. Wang Kai raised his eyebrows and asked rather indifferently with a smile. Howren came back to his senses and hurriedly cupped his fists and said respectfully, "Your Highness, the Empress has not agreed to come. She said that even if the 5 Phoenix clan leaders personally come, they would not dare to do anything to your Highness." Wang Kai's face stiffened when he heard this. He was furious. Indeed, they would not do anything to him. However, the Heavenly Tower would definitely be snatched away by the other party. He could not vent his anger and said indifferently, "Tell my good sister that when I see her again, tell her to wash herself clean and wait. Bin Xiao wants to hang her up and beat her up." Congratulations to the host for successfully bragging. You've received 10,000 experience points and 10 bragging points. Plop, plop. As soon as he said this, Hao Run and the 10 Sage Realm experts were so frightened that they knelt on the ground together. They said in unison with pale faces, "Your Highness, please forgive us. We dare not." Haha, if you don't dare, then so be it. In the future, Bin Xiao will personally tell her, "Hao Run, come and prepare the space array for me. I'm going to Black Tortoise Mountain in the northern region to enjoy the scenery." Wang Kai smiled faintly. He thought to himself, if you really dare to say it, then wouldn't Bin Xiao be in big trouble? Hao Ren and the others felt as if they had been granted amnesty. They immediately got up and wiped the cold sweat off their foreheads. They said respectfully, "Your Highness, please." In a stone room on the 5th floor of the Treasure Trove building, an octagonal array platform came into view. Around each corner, there was a spiritual stone the size of a human head. Judging from its aura, it should be a divine grade. In the center, there was a groove, and there was a 7-colored stone. Around it, there were dense incantations. Wang Kai naturally did not understand the array, nor did he understand the incantations. However, the 7-colored stone was quite eye-catching. "What is this 7-colored stone?" Wang Kai raised his eyebrows and asked curiously. Howren respectfully cupped his fists and bowed. He explained, "Your Highness, this is a spatial stone. It's extremely rare and precious. Each piece is worth 1 billion 8th grade sacred stones. It's priceless." You're tuning in to the Warrior Lore YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.